The fall of Candace Owens. It's kind of a funny thing to say considering her show has a meteoric rise over the past several months. It's actually more about the moral degradation of Candace Owens. And I know a lot of people, they keep doing this thing like, why are you talking about her so much? And I think it's silly considering how prominent she is. I'm not going to stop talking about Chuck Schumer either when he's in the news. And the question right now that we have is, what is the purpose of the lies, the manipulations, and the destruction that we're currently seeing in the right populist movement? And I mean, beyond just MAGA. You've got your MAGA people, they love Trump. Trump can do no wrong. I don't really agree with that, but there's a populist movement of people that are moderate to right-leaning that helped the Republicans win, helped Donald Trump win. And what did this result in? Well, USAID is gone, the border is secure, and Republicans just passed a bill to stop child sex change surgery. However, if the Democrats win in the midterms, all of this can be undone. Trump will be impeached, and it'll probably get bad. There'll be committees, subpoenas, and they're going to exercise power to the most extreme degree capable. And they probably are going to win. And one of the reasons is everything that Candace Owens is doing to undermine the suburban female vote that the Maha movement helped bring to Donald Trump and pushed him over the edge. Is it intentional? Perhaps. Either way, she is burning everything down for personal gain. And, it's demoralizing. So we got a bunch of people joining us today. It's going to be a fun show. We'll start with over here. Would you like to introduce yourself?
I am Jessica Kraus from House and Habit.
Right on.
I am Kristen. I go by Colonel Kurtz online.
And then this guy here, he's inappropriate and crazy. This is
Robby,
Robby.
man. How's everyone doing? Looking forward to a fun show.
You guys might need to be a little closer to your mics when you talk.
Yeah, okay. All right.
Yeah. You can even pull them forward or whatever.
Okay.
Yeah. So, before we get started, we do have a great sponsor for you guys. It's Bearskin Tactical. I'm a big fan. Check this out. Go to BAER.SKIN/Tim and pick up your bearskin hoodie. Do we not have the... It's not set up to just... There you go. Look at that. You press the right button. Go to bear.skin/Tim. Pick up your bearskin hoodie. It's amazing. It's got 340 GSM of bearskin micro fleece. It's got a 3-in-1 rain jacket. It zips into its 20K waterproof heavy storm rain jacket with protective outer shell. Windsolation design. New easy grip adjustable bungee cord waist. 10 secure pockets. Apparently some of them are secrets on the inside. They give that secret away. The best part is they're running their biggest deal of the year. 60% off for Christmas with extended returns, plus free U.S. shipping from their Kentucky warehouse. So here's how you get yours. Text Tim to 36912. That's Tim to 36912, and they'll shoot you a link to lock in the deal. And when you shop with Bearskin, you're not just getting a killer gift, you're also supporting the Fallen Outdoors and Hope for the Warriors veterans programs. This Christmas, don't give another stocking filler socks. Get something good. Get a Bearskin hoodie. Check it out. But let's jump into this. So right now we have AmFest currently going on, and Ben Shapiro has not held back. He went after Megyn Kelly, Tucker Carlson, and largely Candace Owens. Candace has been running a psychobabble nonsense show, and I'm first going to say this. I completely understand, and you guys know, when it comes to nonprofit fundraising, activism, messaging, you always approach the people with rapport. What does that mean? The least effective thing I can do is call Candace's audience retarded. But I kind of don't care to play a game to convince people who want to live in this world where, Candace is telling the truth, but she's lying nonstop. So I could probably be more effective if I were to approach with a little bit more finesse, but I'm just going to be honest. Candace Owens appears, I believe that the structure of her show is go into these conspiracy spaces where people just think Israel's controlling everything, and then she just repeats what she hears back to them, and they give her money. And her recent grift was she went on her show and said, the Zionists are trying to kill me, so I need you to go to my website and give me money. Not even for anything else. Literally just go to my website and just give money. And wow, she is really squeezing the teat of the Israel conspiracy people. The problem is she's driven a bunch of regular people insane. They're now suffering from paranoid delusions, and this is not me being cute. We actually did a show on The Culture where we had psychiatrists and psychologists, and I asked them, if someone believes things that are not real, but they believe it because they read something that convinced them it was true, what do you call this? Because typically when we say someone's deluded, we think their brain is misfiring. And they said it's still just paranoid delusions. Candace is injecting paranoid delusional states into people's brains. The question then is, why is YouTube allowing it, propping her up for so many people when what she does is clearly against their rules? Now, let me be clear. I am not calling for Candace to be censored in any way. I think sunlight is the best disinfectant. However, it is particularly difficult to disinfect the garbage when YouTube shadow bans and shuts you down and puts her on the front page. So how do you combat? There's the question. Why is she allowed to say things that YouTube has clearly banned? To get started, I guess.
I mean, in a strictly mercenary sense, I guess, do you think that it's just that she is bringing in so many views and so much money that YouTube has decided just to give her a pass? I mean, she has, 7 million subscribers, and she's tearing it up online. So I don't know. You think it's more calculated than that politically?
Absolutely. And I'll say it like this. Like Timcast IRL, for instance, typically is one of the largest streams. We're a political off here. I got no problem saying that. And we did split our audience with Rumble when we did this deal. But for years, we would be doing on YouTube maybe like 40 to 50,000 concurrents, always the top spot for the primetime slot. And YouTube suppressed our channel. They they banned our Alex Jones, Joe Rogan episode. And we didn't do anything. And they made up fake reasons to do it. And I told the people at YouTube, I said, if you just explain to me what I did wrong, we will avoid that pitfall in the future. And they said, no. I'm like, okay. So they actively suppress. And of course, it's not just us. Right. The issue then is Candace goes on her show and she's a flat earther. Which I'm sorry, she's not a flat earther or a round earther. Yeah. She's left the cult of science. She says things that YouTube explicitly stated in their rules and in press announcements they will suppress and bar. Not her, though. I think it's actually pretty obvious. She either intentionally or ignorantly is destroying the right populist movement, making people on the right go insane, and it's going to help Democrats win. It's going to help the Democrats be able to give children sex changes.
I agree. I think the bigger for everyone addicted to these conspiracy spins, I'm confused why no one's looking into the head of it. Like, to me, the bigger conspiracy looks like maybe she is part of a deeper, darker, or she's being propped up from really sinister forces, because she is effectively dismantling trust within the conservative party, and everybody's fighting. If you look at AmFest last night, that's not what Charlie Kirk stood for. Everybody's arguing with each other and fighting about
and insulting each
Candace
other.
Owens.
Yep. Yeah.
But she gets away with a lot, and I think everyone's wondering why she's so protected on YouTube.
Yeah.
What's really going on.
Also,
and she's married to a British lord.
Well, do you think her race has something to do with it too? That she gets they give her a bit of a pass because she's the Republican DEI person.
Yeah, but I don't think it's that the liberals, the leftists at Google are saying, "Oh, she's black, let's let her do it."
Right.
I think it's more I view the left as largely like white supremacist. I know they like to put that on the right, but when you have a group of people that actively try to segregate people based on race, my view is, they're doing this on purpose. So what then would be the benefit of putting Candace Owens up on this pedestal? Look what she's doing to the black community. She's driving this like Farrakhan-esque Zog narrative that has continually been very active in a lot of these black communities. Like, Farrakhan being the guy. I think they do it because it's bad for black people, right? Welfare programs that encourage fatherlessness, or whether intentionally or otherwise, create a system where it's possible and it exacerbates. I'm not saying this is the principal reason why I think this is what they're doing. I'm saying it is, however, it is bad, because when you keep people in a paranoid, delusional state, how are they supposed to succeed? They're running in the wrong direction or running off a cliff.
Well, she's definitely distracting a lot of people from with silliness and ridiculousness. I would say too, though, that if you look back at what she's been doing with the Macrons, that's not a political issue per se, but it seems like that is a kind of harassment that YouTube should also be cracking down on.
It's purely against the rules.
They evidently don't care that she's harassing an elderly woman with pure bullshit.
Robby, is Michelle Obama a man?
I'm not sure about Michelle, but Macron, I did watch some of the Candace documentary.
I went to this.
It's very compelling to believe that. I love conspiracies, and I find it very compelling.
You thought that was compelling? Because I watched all the episodes and I thought it was total bullshit.
I grew up in conspiracies, and I'm very easily entertained. I find them very fascinating. And I actually, I think with JFK and 9/11, I think we've been lied to a lot. And I think with Charlie Kirk, a lot of people got behind Candace, including myself, is because we've been lied to about every other.
You're a 9/11 truther? Is that what you're saying?
I'm not labeled 9/11 truther, but I don't believe the official story is true.
Okay.
We look at Building 7. It was taken out of the NIST report.
This guy, I went to his house, and he insisted on playing videos of Michelle Obama being a man. I'm sitting on his couch, and he's like, "Bro, you gotta watch, and he plays a video, and it's Michelle Obama dancing on stage, and something's hitting the.
I cannot get behind.
Well, first of all, you have to understand that's my entertainment. I don't watch TV. So that's why with Candace, you have to understand, for me, it's like a true crime drama.
It's entertainment.
I'm not in the field like you guys. So I'm looking to get entertained. I don't watch
So you're
soap
okay
operas.
if it's fictional, is what you're saying?
No, because I want to be entertained. It gives me something to look forward to. And
He's right.
I don't watch any TV shows.
This-
And I never watch TV. I watch YouTube, and I find it very fascinating, and I love it.
I was saying this the other day on Timcast IRL, is that we've gotten so dark in talking about politics that people are bored of it.
Yeah.
And the liberals, the left, they've always been very, very good at this. And obviously, I know this because I watched Bill Maher and Jon Stewart growing up.
Same.
We don't laugh enough. We don't make fun and joke off. We do these shows, they're all very serious. It's like, well, I doth protest. I think the Liechtenstein tax policy goes too far. And people are like, boring, click. We need to be entertaining because look at this guy. Look at the vapid expression on his face. You can tell there's nothing there.
What do you mean? I grew up watching Alex Jones. I love people like Ian Carroll and Candace. They give me entertainment. They give me things to look forward to in life. And
What do they give you for? What do you look forward to?
laughter,
The spectacle, I guess.
Laughter.
and suspense.
What are you laughing about?
What do you mean? I laugh at the confrontations online. I laugh at
I got to give you this. I am very entertained by Ian Carroll. I loved it when he said that I was trying to buy the Daily Wire.
I was going to bring down the whole political landscape from the blackmail I was.
You were like a
You were
Mossad
blackmailing
agent.
RFK Jr.
You were a Mossad agent.
I spent a year propping him up and promoting him, and then I collected so much blackmail.
Well, it's because you and Olivia Newsy, we just.
Well, yeah, obviously
you
the most.
wanted him so bad.
We drove around in a bus with his name on the license plate, up and down PCH, collecting blackmail. But
Dude, it's
I feel
crazy.
like it's undermining I feel like we all love conspiracies. I think we're all.
Yeah.
who wants to be
open
so serious all the time is what I'm saying. Like for me.
But is there a quality? Like, do you still care about quality of conspiracy? I still like smart conspiracy.
Yeah, I mean,
he's a
look,
truther,
I mean,
I feel like it's getting
obviously,
really
like,
dumb.
a lot of them are bullshit, but
Yeah.
I find I'll watch documentaries on Antarctica and like the hidden
He tried.
places.
He tried convincing me the Earth
And
was flat.
it's very fascinating to me, and I get great joy from it.
Well, I don't think the debate is whether or not it's entertaining. I mean, I'll hate watch Candace every day of the week, right? But and enjoy it. But there are definite, and I think
But
so
when
Tim
it's
is getting
cost-
at real
When
consequences.
it's costing
exactly.
the midterms, I
Yeah.
mean, it's not that funny anymore, right?
Wait, I figured it out.
Oh no.
Candace is a Jew. Is that how we do it?
Sure.
Is that how you're supposed to do it?
She's a Mossad
Right
agent,
now, all
actually.
like the Jewish people watching the show are like, "How dare you? She's not one of us."
Well,
Blame
maybe
her.
that's why she's been protected by YouTube, is because actually she's a Mossad agent and some kind of false flag or something.
Well, let's just stop real quick, and I'll talk about how retarded our audience is. And I know.
He said it,
I
not
know.
me.
They
I
are.
know, guys.
They are.
I know they're going to be
Yeah,
like,
it's-
"Don't." If you want to insult me,
I'm partially retarded.
He is. He says very
But,
inappropriate things. But listen. Candace Owens is married to a British lord who's worth hundreds of millions of dollars and went to Oxford, very well connected. She is propped up on YouTube and Spotify and other big platforms without censorship, despite breaking their explicit rules on all of these things. That's all very strange. But how about the fact that her lawyers work out of the same building as the feds? Robby, how come you don't ask those questions?
Yeah, I mean, it's a good question. I mean, you look at QAnon back in the day, I knew it was a psyop from the beginning, and I think it was used, I think the powers that be used it to control, retarded people, because people get complacent and they don't want to make, any real change.
My question is like, Candace comes out and just makes something up. 68 Egyptian planes were flying around, and it's
well,
like
let's
that literally never happened.
Let's explore everything. Yeah, I mean, I just
think-
found out about that today, so I didn't know about that until you guys told me.
I think there is a decent probability that the point is this, and I say this with full seriousness. They tried to put Donald Trump in prison and failed. They put Trump's lawyers in prison. They arrested his lawyers. The lengths the deep state uniparty is willing to go to stop right populism from growing. Do you think it ends there? Honest question. Do you think it
Of
ends
course
with,
not.
not Trump won, I guess we lose? No, of course not. Going over the top did not work. Do you think they just gave up? I'm talking about corporations, the Davos, these powerful liberal economic order elites. Did they just give up? The answer is no. So what are they doing right now? Trump is in office. He's shutting down USAID. It's gone. Northern Virginia, gutted. These deep state cronies all lost their jobs. They are pissed off. Did they just roll over and say, guess we're done? No. So you want to look for what then is the most destructive thing to the right populist movement, because going after Donald Trump did not work. He won. How did he win? Charlie Kirk. Where are we now? Charlie Kirk was murdered. Who is now actively, in the most profound way, destroying everything Charlie Kirk built? Candace Owens.
Effectively, too.
Until she met with Erica Kirk, and now she's kind of tilted a little bit.
She hasn't, though. She's gone right back with the
Just
latest
saying Turning
episode.
Point did it?
She's basically in the
Said
last
Ben Shapiro did it.
in her last episode last night,
Changes from
where
hour.
she had this kind of a freak show of a guest on, former military guy, but also someone who's clearly, I think, disturbed and office rocker, and he's saying that he saw Erica Kirk. He claims that he saw Erica Kirk hanging out with some military guys prior to Charlie Kirk's assassination. So I think what has happened is that she read the room. She was completely shredded up by her audience after her meeting with Turning Point and after she basically capitulated that day. She read the room. She realized that all of her hardcore followers, or most of them, were turning on her. And so she went right back to serving them the same kind of slop that she's been doing. And guess what? It's working. You talked about how her followers you think are retarded. I looked at the comments last night on her newest video where she's going back to form, and they were all saying some version of, oh, thank God, we knew that you hadn't turned, Candace. We knew that we could trust you, and they're all back on the train again.
So we'll break this down. Candace will ignore that for a second and just ask a simple question. If Donald Trump, they couldn't stop him and he wins, the question then becomes, what else would they do? So I'm not just going to jump to like following Hillary Clinton on X. I'm going to say, okay, the first question I'm going to ask is, what is the most detrimental thing to the right populist movement right now? Clearly, it's the assassination of Charlie Kirk. The right has been fractured. There's tons of infighting. Turning Point is having issues. People are fighting on stage. The loss of Charlie Kirk is a great unifier, fundraiser, and an electioneer. I don't know, maybe electioneer isn't the right word, but someone rallying people to register to vote, getting people to come out to vote. Eliminating Charlie Kirk was one of the most detrimental things to the populist right. Following this, we have questions about who killed Charlie Kirk. Looks like Tyler Robinson is the guy's a suspect. We don't know for sure, though. There are a lot of questions. I think it's fair to ask a lot of these questions. Legitimate ones, not Egyptian plane garbage.
There's always questions in a case like this, too.
But
go on.
I will say specifically, these individuals on social media who expressed foreknowledge of his assassination, and we've not got any real answers about. Who were these people? How did they know? And they seem to be left aligned, which makes sense if the uniparty deep state wanted Charlie Kirk out of the way because they knew they couldn't defeat Trump, but they can make sure that nothing will create a new Donald Trump. So you have to gut the roots, rip the roots out of the ground.
Exactly.
And so then the next question is, with Charlie Kirk out of the picture, what is the next most detrimental thing? And it is the destruction of Turning Point USA, the vessel that he created that was getting out the vote, that was unifying young people and making young people vote right wing. Now, who is destroying Turning Point? Candace Owens. Why would the wife of a British lord whose lawyers work in a building with federal agents be trying to stop the right populist movement? And her followers just hear the word Zionist and gargle the feces. So I will say this with complete seriousness. Conspiracies aside, the most destructive thing to stopping these psychotic liberal economic order warmongers and child abusers is Candace Owens. It doesn't matter if you think she's in on it or not. Tracking what is currently happening, she is doing everything she can, whether intentionally or otherwise, to assist the liberal economic order. And for those that don't know what that is, following what you can look it up. Actually, I'm going to pull it up because people don't believe this stuff. I'm going to spell it all wrong because I'm all agitated and typing all quick. Here we go. Pull this up. This is from the CFR. The Council on Foreign Relations. These are intergovernmental, international elites. This is education.cfr.org. It exists. What is the liberal world order? It was created after World War II. It is a financial system where the U.S. and Europe effectively control other countries through economics. The SWIFT payment system, the International Monetary Fund, the World Bank, etc. Read about the Confessions of an Economic Hitman. These people want to control, they want a singular world structure, and there are questions about what are their true intentions. We don't know. Do they want to help China rise as a unipolar world power after the United States falls? There are a lot of questions here. The point is, these people do not care about the United States. They view it as an economic bloc. They view the world as an order in which they control. How does it operate? They will go to a country and they will say, we're going to give you a loan for $10 billion. We'll put up malls, housing, food, resources for your country. These countries then sign on and are now in debt. They now effectively have signed on to the liberal world order plan. And if they break from it, they can be booted from the SWIFT payment system like Russia was. And this is going to cut off transactions for their country, or they're going to try and go like it was. They're going to treat them like they do, the U.S. does with Iran. Not that Iran is innocent in everything. So what do we see? We see things like Saddam Hussein wanting to trade oil in euro. What happens? Well, we just have to go and invade and kill him. Muammar Gaddafi wants to trade oil in gold dinar. What happens? We came, we saw, he died. This is the system that has been in place forever, and it is faltering, and it is breaking apart. And it's before Donald Trump this is happening. These people don't want to give up. They believe in the liberal world order system. They fear World War III will happen without it. They don't care about the United States. I do. I like baseball and apple pie. But they would break open our borders, flood the country with 10 to 20 million illegal immigrants to shatter our culture so we cannot push back and say there are things in this world that we love. Right now, the question I have is, who is the greatest force? What is the greatest force challenging this machine state? And it is the right populist movement. It is Turning Point, Charlie Kirk. It is Donald Trump. Charlie Kirk was assassinated. Who did it? Israel? Now, certainly there's probably a component of Israel in the liberal economic order in their system, for sure. It's a great ally of the United States and the military machine. But no, it's uniparty establishment, deep state, and people aligned with it. And now who is finishing the job? It's Candace Owens, who is married to a British lord with hundreds of millions of dollars and is violating all of the rules of these big tech platforms and getting away with it while her lawyers work out of a building with a bunch of federal agents. So, to all of her conspiracy followers, maybe they should ask those questions about how she accidentally hired lawyers who are working in a building with feds. They don't, however. So you know what? I know what'll happen. We will get censored. My show will get censored. Don't know, don't care. It is what it is. The truth is the truth. And if we lose, so be it. But at least I know I stood up.
Well, and you're talking about how you suffer the consequences, but Candace Owens doesn't when you run afoul of YouTube's policies. And I think back to when I first started out on YouTube covering the Johnny Depp Amber Heard saga, and most of my videos were demonetized or limited monetized because I was, quote, harassing Amber Heard. Well, how is harassing Brigitte Macron or harassing Erica Kirk okay, but harassing Amber Heard was not? So clearly there's a bias there. I'm just not sure that it's that Candace Owens is thinking that way. I think Candace is someone who is my personal opinion is personality disordered. I think that she's pissed at Charlie Kirk and Turning Point, as you were saying the other day, because they pushed her out, and also perhaps she had a crush on Charlie Kirk, right? And so I think we're seeing actually just kind of an interpersonal drama playing out here. And of course, she's getting reinforced by all the money that she's getting, all the views that she's getting. But you're right. YouTube may be giving her a pass for that reason.
Right. It doesn't matter if she's intentionally doing it. What matters is, I think the uniparty machine is looking at her and saying, this is the best thing that's ever happened for the Democratic Party.
Sure.
For sure.
And don't get me wrong, the Republicans are trash as well. It's just that there are some populist Republicans, and Donald Trump is certainly bucking the machine. And so I got to tell you, if I was a Democrat, I would be thanking Candace Owens every day, like the Young Turks do.
I just want to credit you for standing up and speaking. I think what you're doing is great. I've been speaking out against her for the past 9 months, and you do lose a ton of followers. You lose money. You lose credibility. It divides an overlapping audience. And so I want to credit you with at least standing up for what you know is right. And I would point out how many are still terrified of
Yes.
to do so. They know it's wrong, but they're terrified to speak out. I mean,
Megyn
even
Kelly.
Candace Owens is scared of her own audience. She switched
Oh, yeah.
right away. Like,
Yep.
they're terrifying. It's an army of enraged lunatics, and she's
She
scared
did
of
it.
them too. But she created
There's a guy. I named him before. I won't say his name now.
Really?
Yeah, because he's just like a small person. He's a small
Okay.
restaurateur. He had a restaurant, and when COVID happened in Virginia, they came and shut him down. They raided his liquor. They stole all his booze. And we heard the story, so we said, let's bring this guy to Timcast IRL so we can tell the story and we can push back on this government authoritarian BS. And we even drove down. It was like 2 or 3 hours to his restaurant, told everyone to come, and we were going to help his business. And we did. And he slid the knife in my back as hard as he could because he loves Candace and he thinks the Jews control everything. And he didn't before. Before he was just a guy who ran a restaurant and was being abused by the system. And we stood up for him. How did he repay us? He went on X and lied through his teeth about our security and what had happened. He claimed that, and however you want to interpret this, he said, I was at Tim Pool's studio a month before that shooting happened where he got shot at. He had no security and he didn't seem scared. Now, here's the thing. He has never been to our West Virginia property where the burglary happened with the shooting. It was a staff member who fired up burglars. None of us were working there. This was a West Virginia property. We have security, and we had security, and the doors at our studio were mag-locked, and we had a guy with a rifle standing next to the door when he walked in. So the question is, why is he lying? So this guy, who we defended and helped out, stuck a knife in my back on X because he thinks the Jews control everything. Now, I don't know if he actually does. Maybe he's just another piece of shit like Candace who says, if I say this stupid shit, people will follow me. And that's probably the reality because he knows we have security. He knows he's never been to our West Virginia property. He knows I never said I got shot at. He just made those things up like Candace did because these people are sociopaths who want clout. There's another guy's name I'm not going to mention who claims to be an accountant who keeps lying about Turning Point USA, claiming that there's fraud going on. But so one of the points he made was that Turning Point was giving like a $1.4 million for social media services to a parking lot. It was actually it is a shopping center with a bunch of different offices and buildings and a UPS store, to which people said it's probably an LLC registered to the UPS store. Or it could be that a local politician owns a bunch of these buildings and they utilize an office and a Safeway to do other services from their building. It's commercial property. So why then would he lie and say it's just a parking lot? Because he gets clicks from the conspiratard audience who wants to hear it. I don't know how you defeat an emergent phenomenon like this, but what I can say is YouTube is allowing it intentionally. YouTube deleted our episode with Joe Rogan and Alex Jones. We broke no rules. We recently got it back because I went to war and I believe it got reinstated. But they deleted it 3 years after it aired. And then when they called me on the phone and said, we just want to let you know we took it down for medical misinformation. I said, bull fucking shit. That was 3 years ago and no one had any medical misinformation in it. I said, tell me where. I said, I can't. I'm like, because there was none. There was none and you're lying. They took down our episode. It was our biggest YouTube podcast that we had done. Yet these people who make shit up about Turning Point and Charlie, they let happen, even though it breaks the rules. So the question is why? Well, I think it's pretty obvious. The people who work at Google are largely progressive. They're in San Francisco. They want Trump to lose, and they aren't going to stop at Donald Trump not going to prison. They're going to say, what's the next play we have? And it's going to say, make sure we amplify as many lunatics who will make the right look retarded. And I called it. In 2016, 17, 18, all throughout the Gamergate and woke expansion, I said this, go watch the episodes of my morning show, this channel, and IRL. You have two children. You see a woman walking down the street with two kids. Two, 10-year-old boys. One is wearing a nice little dapper suit, looks stunning. The other is drenched in chocolate sauce and ice cream. His hair is all messy. And what do you think? You think, that's a problem child. That clean-cut kid, he's the good one, right? That's the assumption you make when you see it. The reality is the parent doesn't let the clean-cut kid wear whatever he wants, and he's not allowed to have ice cream. So he only looks clean-cut because the parents don't let him. The messy kid, the parents say you can wear whatever you want, you can eat whatever you want. That's what was happening with the left. They were not censoring the most extreme of the left voices. So these lefties were coming out and screaming retarded shit like they wanted to give kids sex changes. The right, however, was censored in every capacity. So the only message you were getting was Ben Shapiro. The right then looked reasonable and moderate, and the wackaloons were suppressed. I think they finally woke the fuck up and said, holy shit, we need to actually censor the wackaloons on the left and not the right, so the right looks like retards. So they amplify Candace and people like Robby. I'm kidding.
I mean, look, Tim's a very authentic guy. I've known him since Occupy Wall Street. He's very genuine in his viewpoints. But I also think Candace comes across very genuine to me personally in actually knowing that we've been lied to in the past, and Charlie Kirk, the stuff that happened with Charlie Kirk and the videos and all the evidence we've seen didn't add up. So I actually do truly believe, like Milo, when Milo came on your show and said that she's being authentic, that's how it comes across to me. Whether I'm partially retarded, yeah, I mean, I am in certain.
It's not. Did you see the tweet she put out about Ben Shapiro?
I have not.
I'll pull this one up.
I think going through her background too and talking to sources,
go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry. I just think she has a pattern of destruction. Anyone who's a competitor, and I think a lot of it is personal. It might be genuine in the fact that it's personal, but it is purely rage-filled and vindictive. From what I
haven't dug
gathered.
deep, but I do think unity is important, and I think I'd love Candace to come on right now and sit with Tim and everyone come together and everyone come together, because you don't want people like you said.
But conflict is more profitable.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I love conflict. But at the same time, I want unity in the end for the light to win. I don't want the darkness to win.
You can't unify, though, with someone who has become such a deliberately destructive force.
Well, she just met with Erica Kirk.
But look what happened.
Yeah, but now she's totally flipped on it.
Pull this tweet up.
Let's see.
Every time Ben speaks, I feel more certain Israel is involved in 910Z. I love the little Z she had. You know what that is?
What is that?
Is Zog, Zionist. It's whatever. He's just way too invested in Charlie's. I mean, you could argue it's a typo, but the 0 and the Z are far away from each other, so maybe it's just she accidentally put a Z there. I don't know. She said, he's just way too invested in Charlie's murder. He never liked Charlie, and he's now suddenly pretending he had a duty to defend his legacy. Ben only cares about Israel's interests, so Israel is involved. The implication here is that Ben is aware Israel killed Charlie Kirk and is running cover for them. That is to say, she is accusing Ben Shapiro of being party to a conspiracy that murdered Charlie Kirk. You think that's genuine? You think that comes off as authentic? Bro, the leaps and bounds she made in this tweet alone.
Last
Ben
week it was
only
France.
likes Israel, therefore Israel is involved. Oh, shut the fuck. Oh my God.
No, I said she was genuine in the way she talks about Charlie when I've seen her talk
It's called
about
snake
trying
oil.
to find. I've never seen this tweet.
Great actor.
You want to
But
hear me do a great advocacy for
people
child
are
sex
fed
changes?
up.
I can make it happen.
I think people are fed up with, a lot of people are fed up with Israel because of AIPAC's involvement with, having a lot of influence.
How much money does Apex spend every year?
You tell me.
Do you know?
No, I haven't done the research.
Right. My point is this. It's a lot. There's different estimates. Some say about 8 million in direct political spending, but it's probably much higher than that in indirect political spending, maybe around 40 million. China spends 400. Should AIPAC register as a foreign agent? I would agree with that. I'd say if you're advocating for the interests of a foreign nation, register under FARA if you're doing that work. That's fine. I think we shouldn't be funding other countries' military to such a great extent. That includes Ukraine and Israel. We've given Ukraine more money in 2 years than we've given Israel in 50. The president of Ukraine came to our Congress and they all waved his flag. See, that I have a problem with. And when they come to me and say, what about Israel? I said, it's the same thing. I don't care what country it is. However, Candace plays this game. She knows that people are going to believe it when she says stupid shit. So if I'm sitting here reasonably and rationally looking at all the stuff related to Israel, I go, wow, look, there are Zionists in the United States. You guys know, I don't know, for people who don't know what it means, they believe that there should be a homeland for the Jews. There needs to be control of this land. Christian Zionists largely want this for the return of Jesus. Jewish Zionists want a homeland for Israel, but the Bible says a homeland for Israel. These people do exist. There are absolutely powerful interests in the United States, from media to politics, that want to advocate everything they can for Israel. It's true. And more so for many other countries. Does Israel control the United States? No. Do they have undue influence? Yes. The Saudis also have undue influence, and potentially more than Israel. It's hard to say where. But Trump, catering to these Saudi princes, because he wants to get them on the petrodollar contract. It expired I think, earlier this year. And that puts the liberal world order at risk. Trump wants to go to them. The question is, why then does no one talk about that? Well, because that's the real threat. The real threat is if these conspiracy people who followed Candace spoke up against the Saudi interests in 9/11, perhaps. Do you know about that, Robby? Or oil, it could disrupt the U.S. petrodollar system. Complaining about Israel does nothing to change this machine. Does Israel control the World Bank? No. The IMF? No. Are they running the Davos Group? No. Do they control the oil contracts? No. What is the benefit the U.S. has with Israel? They make weapons. They provide intelligence in the Middle East. We want control of that area. And it provides great strength in the Suez Canal so that we control global trade. Because there's two things the U.S. does. We own oil and we own global trade. That's why we go and blow up pirates. That's why we sent a bunch of weapons to go bomb the Houthis because they were targeting the Red Sea. We want control of the waterways. We want control of the oil. If these people who followed Candace started speaking out against, I don't know, Saudi involvement in 9/11, maybe? Do you know about that, Robby? Families actually sued the Saudi government.
Look, I'm fed up with, I think people are fed up with the government funding all these other countries. You go to parts of LA, you go to the airports. We should be taking care of our homeland with the money.
Are you saying, though, Tim, that you think that Candace's current, and actually longstanding conspiracy orientation is a way of inoculating her conspiracy-minded viewers against what their real focus should be, the things that you're talking
Always.
about?
I'm not saying it's
I just think
intentional.
I just think that's a little too calculated for what's really going on here, which is that we've got a woman with a raw animal intelligence, but a very untrained mind who doesn't have guardrails, and she just pings back and forth from conspiracy to conspiracy.
Of course. This is a mistake people make with conspiracies. The news organizations don't need to force writers to write things. ABC News doesn't go to a man and say, if you work for us, you're going to write the fake stories we want you to write. It doesn't exist. They don't go to journalists and say, how would you like to get paid to write fake stories on with the CIA? It doesn't happen. Rarely. I think it happened once or twice. You know what they really do? They sit down for an interview with someone like Robby and they say, what do you think about the Jews? And then he goes, I hate them. And they go, would you like a job? I don't need to tell you what to do. I got two people here.
I love everyone.
Over here, you come to me and say, listen, what is true, and I'm here to report the truth. And I go, that's so valiant. I'll call you back. I'll let you know. This guy says, I hate Trump. He's bad. And Jews control things. And I go, would you like a job? That's how it works. So Candace Owens doesn't need to be involved in anything. All that needs to happen is someone tells her, hey, look at this story. Then YouTube goes, why don't we put her on the front page? You put her on the front page. You know, it's funny. I talked about this a year ago. It's called, what did I call it? How you mind break someone is very easy. I'm not going to name this person. I haven't named him, but there's a fitness influencer. They used to talk about doing push-ups, doing pull-ups, how many meters you need to run every day. Now what do they talk about? What do you think they talk about now?
Oh, no.
Candace Owens stuff?
The Jews.
Oh, yeah.
You know why? It's real easy. I can go on YouTube and I can run an ad on any video I want. I can take your video on YouTube and I can run it as an advertisement. You won't know what that is or why. All you'll see on your back end is views skyrocketing. And you'll be like, wow, I don't know why this is happening. And you'll get paid for it. Or I can run ads on your video so your revenue is really high, higher than normal. So you find a fitness influencer and he's like, I'm going to do 20 push-ups right now and I'm going to show you proper technique. And he's like, ugh, and then that's it. Then October 7th happens. What do? First method is spam blast the comments. For $5 on Fiverr, you say, I need 100 comments saying Israel. I want you to ask him what he thinks about it because October 7th is so shocking. So he sees all these comments and he goes, man, people are really asking me. I don't really know. And so he's like, I guess I'll make a video about it. He makes a video and he says, look, guys, I know you've been asking me a lot about this. I'm just a fitness guy. I think it's really terrible what happened. And, I wish for peace. I pray for peace. What happens then? That video, they then blast with bots to give it 100,000 views and a bunch of comments saying, I love you. Thank you so much for addressing this. I think you're wrong, however. Take a look at this link. Did you hear about Israel did here? He sees all these comments and he goes, oh, whoa. He sees how many views he gets. So then what happens next week? I'll do another one. I'll address it. He makes another video. This time he says, man, it's kind of feeling like a genocide. I mean, I'm seeing these things because he's getting spam blasted in the comments. Fast forward 2 months later, a fitness influencer now is just talking about the Jews because he's making money, he's getting views, and he's bigger than he's ever been. That's how you mind break people.
But the bots are a big part of this too.
Oh, yeah.
It's confusing everyone as to what is actual human interaction and what is paid artificial, injection.
I can't
To shape
imagine.
Perspective and opinion, right?
Yes, there's many different ways to control the system, and I can't imagine shows like mine can exist if the machine state gets back on track. Because explaining the methodology behind mental manipulation, the bot accounts, dead internet, all of these things certainly is bad. Now, it's possible. I've explained this before as well, that the shows I do are pressure release valves. The people who are smart enough to see through it get frustrated.
Yeah.
They ask themselves, how is it possible that the machine state gets away with all of these things? So what do? They allow a Tim Pool to exist, but only in a certain amount, so that the people who are looking for these answers find them, but can't actually do anything about it. This is called the tiny room shadow ban. We are all in a room where we are recognizing the truth before our eyes, and we feel like we're getting something done, but all it really is the establishment machine state in control, turning the pressure release so that we calm down a little bit. Because when people get agitated and feel like there's no future, they go nuts.
It's depressing.
Anyway.
I mean, I think your episode with Alex Jones and Machine State, I think it would still be banned if Trump didn't win. But I also think a lot of diehard Trump supporters are actually upset the way he handled the Epstein case. And
agreed, 100%.
And so that's also dividing people. And then when you tweet about Rob Reiner that, people don't like that way he's talking about Rob Reiner when someone dies.
Agreed. I completely agree. Why do you think it is that Trump didn't want to release the Epstein files?
Protecting powerful people.
Who?
I don't know.
It's pretty obvious. Who do you guys think?
Bill Clinton, himself?
No.
Who?
No. Well, I'm curious what you guys think.
Well, I think the Epstein files is a whole conspiracy, and I do think it's a hoax. I've written, it's not a popular opinion.
Ooh, wow.
But
I'd love to learn more about that.
Yeah, that's a whole nother show. But I mean, yeah, if you look at how the disaster, I mean, what have they released? What's been so concerning? It's escort girls. A lot of these women that are on TV were paid of age, they're of their own will, paid for sex, and they've been rebranded as child victims of sex trafficking. And you say the truth, and you get attacked and censored, which is what's happened to me.
I think there were, what is it, 15, 16-year-olds that were being trafficked. And I think the reality is the true Epstein files would implicate probably U.S. intelligence, Israeli intelligence, British intelligence, but most importantly, the Saudis. I think that there's going to be a Saudi prince who was partying it up. They don't have the same age of consent laws. And so it's not that you were going to find out that a Saudi prince was abusing 10-year-olds, but 16-year-olds. And in
There's
their
also
country,
a lot of financial stuff they're hiding.
Oh, of course.
The sex stuff is almost like a distraction.
I just think here's the obvious thing. The petrodollar contract with Saudi Arabia ended, and Trump is doing everything he can to try and get that back. We want to go back to Afghanistan. We want to give the Saudis weapons. If the Epstein files came out and it said insert Saudi prince or royalty is named for any reason, they're going to be like, we don't want to, no. So I'm willing to bet, yes, Trump was trying to protect powerful people who did bad things.
Wait, you think that if a Saudi prince was named as a part of the Epstein mess, that's really going to have some kind of significant effect on Saudi-U.S. relations, or is it going to have any effect on anything important to Saudi Arabia? I just don't see that.
Yeah, I do.
You think people give a shit if a Saudi prince is having sex with a teenager?
Yes. I think that in the United States, the Democrats would weaponize that, mobilize, attack the Republican Party for trying to cut a deal, undermining our ability to reestablish the petrodollar. If the news broke that Trump was working and negotiating deals with men he knew were raping underage girls, they're going to run that 24/7. But I do also think it's a game of chicken. Democrats know it's bad for the United States, but they're basically saying we will burn the whole thing down before we let you take over, because Trump, you are changing the system as we see it. Trump wants an American nationalist, semi-isolationist. I don't want to say, I don't like the word isolationist, but secure our borders, bring our manufacturing back, and the liberal economic order. They want our manufacturing sent to China. I'll put it this way. We shut down our aluminum refineries. Why? We cut a deal with Canada. Canada imports from Chinese bauxite mines and Brazil, refines it to aluminum refines the aluminum in Canada and then sells it to us at a premium. Why? They don't even have bauxite mines. It's all economic bloc trade systems. The idea for the liberal economic order was very simple. Trade lines prevent war. England and France stopped fighting when trade got too thick. Now, powerful Brits are like, I don't want to lose all my money. I've got French manufacturers making my cloth. The French were like, but we got British fishermen supplying the fish for our markets. That was their play. So I'll go back to your question. A Saudi prince says to Trump, I do not want to be a pariah in your country. I do not want to be banned from Las Vegas or Los Angeles or New York. I don't want to be Epstein in your media. Do not let them say my name. If they do, I'm not working with you. And Trump says, okay. Now, I'm not saying it's only the Saudis. Like I said, I think Mossad, MI6, and U.S. intelligence are going to be implicated in this stuff as well. The point is, Trump wants to cut deals with powerful people whose names are on these documents in some fashion or another, and it will be bad. Look what the Democrats have been doing with pictures of Trump with those models.
That's the part. It's the media manipulation. I mean, he knows what's going to go, what they're going to do with it.
Right.
I mean, look what
So-
they've done with what little they have.
And it may not even be. I'll put it like this: if documents came out that said that there was Saudi royalty raping underage girls, are they going to be able to buy a room in Beverly Hills?
So still, yes. Honestly,
I don't think
just don't
that.
think it's
I think that. No, I think these people are going to be looking at it like, I don't want to be Epstein in the global world in the world. So don't tell people. Don't release these documents. That's the leverage they have. Trump, you want to cut a deal with us? You want trade routes? You want oil? I don't want my name in the press saying that, this, that, or otherwise, whatever it is, the Epstein things were. So Trump is basically saying, don't listen to it. It's a hoax. I think the Democratic Party, which of course includes elements from the neocon establishment, the Republican Bush Romney era, it's the Uniparty, Crystal, Bill Kristol, whatever, they all go over there, the Lincoln Project. They're basically, their gambit to Trump is, if we have to destroy everything to stop you, we will. And if that means everything we want, we'll do it. That's we're all in.
I mean, he's only on year one, and
I know.
the intensity of these attacks is
So
insane.
anyway, maybe I'm wrong, but I certainly think Trump did that because he's trying to protect powerful people that he wants to cut deals with. Trump gutted USAID. And why did he do that? This was the machine that the government was able to inject our ideology, I should say into other countries. That was a nuclear bomb to establishment politics over the past 70 years. Trump wants control of the international order in a different way to them. They will burn it down before they let him take it. So then, again, to the point of Candace Owens and everything that she's been doing, she is the most useful and most powerful weapon they have right now, because the people who would vote for, and voting matters, it absolutely does, the people who would make sure that Trump and the populist Republicans are in power have become, not completely, but many of them, retarded. They're now advocating. Let me go. Let's go back in time. Let's go to Pizzagate. Let's go to Pizzagate. This guy knows all about Pizzagate.
Robby perked up.
WikiLeaks releases emails. They leak emails. It's very, very bad for Hillary Clinton, the Democrats. In these emails, we see some weird things. An email that said, I found a handkerchief with a map on it. Whose was it? The hell does that mean? They're clearly speaking in code. No, they are. Another email said, is it more fun to play dominoes on pizza or on pasta? Well, what could this possibly mean? It's clearly speaking in code. One day, randomly, and with no sourcing, someone on 4chan posted an image that said pizza means boy and pasta means girl. Totally made up. It was then spread far and wide on the conspiracy space, resulting in people going, and long story short, Comet Ping Pong, a guy fires around into the ground, there's no basement, oh my God, we were wrong. So what really happened? Those emails are real. WikiLeaks published real emails. How did they get leaked? Well, there's reporting that one of the top level guys at WikiLeaks received a thumb drive from someone while in Britain, while the establishment said Russia hacked it. Whatever. Maybe Russia did.
Rest in peace, Seth Rich.
And some people think that. But I mean, I gotta be fair. It is entirely possible that Russia was like, we're going to expose the machinations of our enemies in global affairs. So, what was the point of this post saying pizza means boy, pasta means girl? People were actually stumbling upon something legitimate. What does it mean to play dominoes on pizza or pasta? Well, If you're in the deep state and you find out that your assets, the people in politics that you fund and direct, whether directly or indirectly, are about to get exposed for some kind of crime, you need to ruin it. So what happens? You seed false information, and as the mob is pointing in your direction saying, you did something, this is weird, you dangle the keys over here and throw them, and they all run off a cliff. And what did they do? A guy shows up at Comet Ping Pong and shoots into the floor. What was really going on? My assumption, what does it mean when you say, is it more fun to play dominoes on pizza and pasta? Let's translate that and what makes the most sense. Is it more fun to have a party on Coke or meth? So what I genuinely believe is, when I was a kid, I grew up, people called cigarettes squares. Do you ever hear this?
No.
They call them fags.
They call them squares. In Britain, they call them fags. In Chicago, someone would, a 16-year-old kid at his friend's house would be like, hey, you got any squares? In front of his friend's parents. Why? Because they don't know what square means. So they call them squares instead of cigarettes. Because if the parents found out they were smoking. You're sending an email, you're in politics, and you're cracked out of your mind. You're not going to message someone and say, hey, we're going to go an orgy and we want to do meth and ecstasy. Which do you prefer? You're going to say, play dominoes with pizza or pasta. However, what would happen if it turned out that the Democrats were having orgies and cracked out of their minds and doing crazy ass drugs? I heard a story the other day that apparently, I'm not going to name the band because I don't want to drag the wrong band, but they had in their rider a requirement for a bowl of cocaine. Like, that's explicitly illegal, but they would tell the promoters, in a contract, give us illegal drugs. What would happen if the people found out that the politicians they were voting for were whacked out of their mind on crack and an orgy? They're never getting elected again. So what do you do if you're intelligence and you see 10 million people all screaming, what does this mean? You seed false information so they sound like retards, and guess what? Nothing ever came of Pizzagate.
The conspiracy.
Those questions about those emails persist, and everyone walked away because a retard shot a bullet into the ground looking for a basement that didn't exist.
Some of that art, though, was a little conspicuous. They had like little children.
Of course.
That was
Well, the
reason
art
to
world is always
question things,
edgy.
right?
No.
And the owner of
No.
Comet Ping Pong, he
It's
was
not.
one of the most influential people in DC, James Alefonso.
I am not saying that there aren't elite pedos either. I am saying you can't let the people actually stumble across the truth, so you seed false information.
Well, yeah, that happens all the
So you
time.
think
I think largely what we're seeing with the Epstein stuff, what Candace is doing, whether intentional or otherwise doesn't matter, she is taking this massive crowd. She's getting 150K concurrent viewers on her show who are demanding answers and dangling the keys over here, and they're chasing after it.
I will agree with you that is the way that things have worked out, and I would go so far as to say that maybe now that the powers that be, like at YouTube, see what's going on in terms of this woman is damaging right wing cohesion, then they're giving her a pass. But I just don't believe that she is some kind of a plant in a way who is working to deflect conspiratorial angst in another direction.
Her husband is a
just don't
British
think that.
lord.
Yeah.
What do you think?
How the point is, it is entirely possible, and I don't think intent matters. I say this all the time.
Okay.
Intent is meaningless. It's a debate over someone's feelings. I don't care. What are they doing? Why they're doing it is a question for a philosopher. I
Sure.
suppose.
Yeah. So the effect of it, I'll agree with you, is that she's basically like sucking up all of the energy in the room in a number of ways, and she's causing these fissures on the right wing. But I don't think it's calculated. But I'll agree with you that the effect might be the
someone
same.
else. It could be calculated for somebody else.
Sure. Oh,
but
yeah.
I'm also going to say this. Like, while I think it's fair to point out, there's no point. So let me put it this way. I was asked about AmFest, and are they intentionally fracturing the movement? Like, we didn't get invited. We got invited after the fact, but and I said intention is meaningless to me. The question is, what are they doing, and what will that turn them into? I believe that Turning Point will largely just become like CPAC, suit-wearing conservatives. It's going to excise out the more moderate, disaffected liberal types like myself. They didn't invite us. That's what happens. People like Luke Rutkowski, for instance. My friend is a very Maha guy, very libertarian guy. And he went from being a stage guest speaker to being an attendee. I think that's what they're doing. I don't care if they have a Machiavellian plot. It's what they're doing. So I will say this. When you look at what Turning Point is doing, it actually is kind of simple to just say, well, Charlie was the visionary, and without him, maybe they just don't know better. With Candace, I can say, maybe YouTube is just propping her up because she's divisive and damaging to the right, but her lawyers work in a building with the feds, and she's married to a British lord, so if there ever was a connection, I'm not saying it's a definitive. I'm just saying, of all the people to point the finger at, the funniest thing is Erica Kirk doesn't fit the bill. Candace does.
I agree with you. If someone's looking for conspiracies, they would be much better to look at Candace than Erica Kirk. Can I push back though on one thing?
No, you're not allowed.
Maybe y'all are going to disagree with me. I don't think Charlie Kirk was as influential as you think he was. I think that
I completely disagree.
Yeah.
I
You do?
disagree.
Charlie was the one guy who
think
can
he was-
convert. When you go to college, they promote a liberal ideology. You're essentially retarded. You're essentially brainwashed.
Yeah,
right?
I taught college for many years.
So
Yeah.
when you're going there, who was the one person who made you think that you've been being brainwashed? Who actually related to college students? Charlie Kirk. He was
for
like
a
one of the.
particular sliver of people, but I really think that I'm sorry, I'm not trying to speak ill of the dead, but I think that he was more of a kind of a campus sideshow, a la Stephen Crowder, than people. I think people
no.
are
He woke-
rewriting
he-
his history now that
No
he's
way.
dead.
No
He
way.
woke people
way.
up, and he was very essential.
I have boys, all teenagers, and all their friends. They were obsessed with Charlie Kirk. They all watched.
His audio podcast, I think, is getting more now, but it was like 1 million downloads per day for audio.
Really?
That is massive. So in that range.
Okay.
Then you look at his YouTube videos, millions per video. Charlie was massive. Like, look, we on Timcast IRL. Again, I says we're in the political off season, but we've been doing about like 600K, 700,000 per episode. Everything, audio, Rumble, YouTube. We throw clips in, we might be getting close to 1 million. Charlie's probably doing 5 to 10. I walk around out here and I'm getting recognized like crazy. And I'm not saying it to humble brag. I'm saying I'm actually surprised because I don't think I'm anywhere near as big as Charlie Kirk was. I think he like look, they generated $90 million in a year. This guy, I believe, was one of the largest contributors, if not the largest, to Donald Trump's victory and the Republican victory. They were doing get out the vote campaigns. Look at Gen Z's political opinions. Gen Z has shifted rightward, even somewhat the young women,
Well,
but
the
mostly
culture
the
has
young men.
shifted rightward in general, but
And
yes.
I think it was largely Charlie and Turning Point. AmFest had the makings of being the new South by Southwest. Last year, I said this to Charlie. We were looking at the Daily Wire cigar party. James O'Keefe partied, 1,000 people lined up out the door. And I was like, bro, this is the biggest it's ever been. This is crazy. You've got pop-up events happening. And I said, next year, we're going to do the Timcast party. We're going to rent a building out and we're going to have a party and we're going to do what everyone else is doing. I was like, bro, I think you should court this because it's accidentally becoming one of the biggest conventions, if not the biggest. And I don't feel that way anymore. Without Charlie, AmFest is all infighting right now. Ben Shapiro calls out Tucker, Megan, and Candace. Then Tucker comes on stage and laughs at Ben Shapiro. Erica's begging people, please don't fight. You're allowed to disagree. This is AmFest. We weren't invited. It was and I'm not the only one. This is what I got a call about from the Wall Street Journal. They said that Maha wasn't invited either. It's looking very much like, this is really funny because I said this, that is very much looking like just suit-wearing traditional conservatives. I then asked the reporter, I was like, is Bobby Kennedy speaking? And because he's a suit-wearing guy, right? He's more liberal. And the woman said, no, he's not on the schedule. And I went, holy crap. That was the unity that Charlie made happen.
And I was at that event where they came on stage. You know, it was the big event where Charlie introduced them.
I think without Charlie, they don't get it.
Well, no one doubts that when you kill the king, then the organization suffers. I mean, and so that I'm not saying that it was irrelevant, but I'm just saying I'm not sure he was the cultural had the cultural impact.
Let me say this.
Yeah.
Who made RFK stand on stage and shake Donald Trump's hand to fanfare and fireworks? Charlie Kirk. Mm-hmm. That was what Trump needed because he did not have suburban moms. That's always been his weak point, and they were the news for years was Trump struggling among suburban mothers. RFK Jr. helped push Trump over the line on that one.
And do you think it's because Charlie Kirk had him shake his hand at an event?
Because Charlie brought RFK Jr. to Trump and facilitated this.
And I will say that was the most electrifying experience of all the events I went to over that year. That was unlike anything I'd ever experienced.
Charlie's the one guy who there was a reason he was killed. There was no one like him. I mean, he literally can relate to these young people. He can bring people together. He was going to be
was gonna be
vice president,
No.
or president.
He was going to be president.
100%.
No.
He was 6'3".
No. I'm not trying to denigrate the man's memory, but no, he was not going to be president.
He was absolutely
He's a young guy, maybe in like 15,
He
20 years,
was
100%.
a charismatic, quick-witted, fast talker who was well-read and 6'3".
Okay, you're charismatic and quick-witted. I
not
don't think
tall
you're going
enough
to
to
be
be
president. Okay, well, so it's the height. That's the
Absolutely,
difference
height
there?
is a
That's
Garrett
very
Charlie.
real.
It's a
That's
very
very
Charlie
real.
knew how to diffuse. He didn't yell at people. He literally knew how to talk
I
to anyone,
understand
make
he's
them
talented. I
Without
understand he was
stunts.
talented.
This is why
I just don't
Kamala-
think he was as influential.
Kamala Harris wanted a
100% he
smaller
was.
podium because she didn't want to look small next to Trump. These things all matter. This is the crazy thing about macro level politics. In this room right now, between all of us, if we were going to vote on who should choose lunch, it's actually very personal. And I'm going to have to look you in the eyes and say, trust me, I'm going to get you something that you really want. Turn it up to 300 million people. It does not matter what I say to you. It matters what color my tie is, and it matters if I'm fit, fat, or tall, or short. A short man with a squeaky voice is going to have a substantially harder time. Why? Even if it's only 0.1% shifting the vote patterns, we're talking about
Well, I'm not
hundreds of
denying
thousands of votes.
that height has an effect on perception, but I'm just saying that again, like to say, well, you know, he had these qualities. I just don't think he was as influential as you were saying. I don't think he would have been president. I think he's been kind of romanticized after his death, which I understand that.
Who else, squarely in politics, had his growth of resources, organizational power, like party politics? Who else?
Well, I mean, I'd have to think about that.
No one. Turning point being at all of these high schools and colleges was him setting up the Charlie Kirk show nationwide. They're a $160 million organization now. They brought in just about 90 million last year. No one came close to that. And he did it through his own work and deals. Now, certainly, Joe Rogan, he did a big deal, like $250 million, whatever. He's not a politician. He's not going to run for politics, and he'd never get elected. People joked about how he should run because he should get elected, but he wouldn't.
What about Tucker?
Nope. Tucker, people have talked about Tucker maybe as like a VP. I actually, you know, I'd say this. I'd say Tucker would have had it a few years ago. He was close. He is tall. And he is very sharp, intelligent, well-read, and well-financed and all of those things. So Tucker certainly had the potential, but Tucker was a personality first and a political influencer second. Charlie was a political influencer first and a personality second. Charlie was a guy who got his start in advocacy, activism, and politicking. And then he used it to create a show where he effectively had a massive radio show and one of the biggest podcasts. His numbers were insane. And the fact that they still are extremely high, even though the show is not being led by him, says a lot. His name carried a lot of weight. So by all means, if there's an argument of he certainly was very big, but maybe not the biggest, I'd agree. That's a fine argument to have. But to argue that he's being romanticized, I think it's incorrect.
Could be.
I think, if anything, people aren't saying enough.
I think so too.
Like, I don't think people understand the scale of Turning Point USA. I think, if anything, people aren't talking about how much bigger Charlie was actually going to be.
And
President is like nice, but I'm historical figure, you know. Who knows?
I like a fun game for Robby to explain. You've been watching Candace pretty regularly.
I was
Have you
right
kept-
after the shooting, but I haven't been like the most recent stuff.
I always just like to ask what you've gathered from the evolution of her theories and conspiracies, because ideally you would get closer and things would start to narrow, right? But it seems like every week is a new suspect, and it's just so outstretched.
I don't know the most
impossible.
recent ones, but I mean, I
Like,
just
what
know,
do you think the
I think just the
prevailing?
most basic stuff of like from me growing up, knowing that we've been lied to about things such as, you know, Lee Harvey Oswald was a patsy. I don't know. Do you believe JFK was killed by Lee Harvey Oswald?
Well, I believe all of that, but I think
don't.
what.
Okay, yeah. So that's what I'm saying. So you would think, okay,
But just
well,
because
had
we've
this
been
in the
lied
past
to in the-
before, and we've had cover-ups
right.
before, why are we just going to blindly believe an official story where we see some things?
That's the
far-
fallacy that Candace is using, though, to
Yeah.
manipulate her audience. The fact that we have an instance or maybe multiple instances where the government was covering stuff up does not mean, ergo, that this completely implausible, nonsensical, unproven conspiracy theory is valid. I mean,
Well,
I'm not attacking
Robbie,
you.
I think
Robbie,
okay.
Robbie,
So you see the guy
Robbie.
jump up and go, he did it. You know, that George Zinn, stuff like that.
Okay,
how
Robby.
does someone jump up and celebrate right away when someone gets
But-
killed unless they know it's going to happen?
You
Stuff
talk
like that
to the
doesn't
locals.
Make,
George
maybe it's
Zinn is
coincidence.
That's a leap. I certainly have questions for the crazy guy who said he was trying to help the shooter. But why are all the leftists celebrating and calling for more? Are they on that too? The point is, there's another guy who jumped up and celebrated. But my
There was
question,
a lot of people celebrating.
my question for you, Robby, is key bono. You know what that means?
Pro bono?
Key bono.
Who benefits?
Don't you watch Alex Jones? I learned this from him.
I haven't in a while. I did.
Who benefits?
Okay.
Who benefits from the killing of Charlie Kirk?
I mean, I think the elite. I think the liberal. I think
agreed.
the liberal establishment.
I agreed. Anybody else?
Those are the two that come to mind.
Leftists?
Yeah.
Antifa types, ideologues. Does Israel benefit from killing Charlie Kirk?
Maybe. I don't know. I'm not sure. I'm not. I mean,
It's not so easy, is it?
I'm not 100% sure on that.
The elites, yes, right? Charlie Kirk was pro-Trump. He was creating this this coalition, and he helped Trump win a second term. Who benefited the most from the death of Charlie Kirk? Progressives and liberal elites. One could argue that Israel might have benefited if Charlie really was going to abandon the Israel movement. However, like a month before Charlie was killed, he put out a seminar where he was advocating to Gen Z to support Israel. So I don't think that Israel benefited. So it's not so easy to say they benefited from Charlie's death. The question then is, who benefited from killing him? If we're going to start there and then ask questions, liberal elite, because they share ideology with the progressives, and this is the guy who got Trump elected. That makes the most sense. So when you look at the guy George Zinn who jumps up and says, "I did it," it's very strange. Okay,
He's a
what is he?
weirdo.
He's a progressive. He's not a Jew.
But he was involved in like 9/11,
right.
all these other things. Like, what are the chances of that him being there?
So-
He's not, though. You have to look into him. This
he was
is
involved
just
in 9/11.
George. If you talk to locals, they all know him as like the local lunatic who has all these stories. He's just
Robby.
He goes to every event
Sure, it may
possible.
be a coincidence.
Who benefited from killing JFK?
I mean, we didn't go to we went to war. I mean, JFK didn't want to go to
we
war.
were at war.
JFK was talking about abolishing the Federal Reserve. There's a lot of people who benefit.
Indeed, and those people are all part of which group?
Liberal,
It's not so much liberal party, but
the elite. Sorry,
the elite, the established order, the machine state, the liberal economic order. We weren't going to allow the expansion of communism in Vietnam. We needed to go in, and he says, "I don't want to go in." Lyndon B. Johnson, a little different. So who benefited? The machine state. I think it's fair to question Lee Harvey Oswald's involvement. What he denied it, I believe, would happen. And then
the
Jack
Secret
Ruby,
Service is pulled off of the
and
car.
then Jack Ruby walks up, shoots him, and then Ruby gets killed. Didn't Ruby get killed in prison? A lot of questions about that, and that's
Yeah,
totally
well, he
fine. That's
died
totally
of
fine.
cancer,
I'm not saying I
supposedly.
know for sure, but I sat down with Ron Paul himself, and I asked him, and he said the CIA killed him. I asked RFK Jr., who killed your uncle and your dad, and it's been a while, but I'm pretty sure he said the CIA killed him.
Yeah.
So, okay, that actually aligns with cost-benefit analysis. So then when we get to the Charlie Kirk thing, if we apply the same standard, it's the same group of people. Established government, internal intelligence, etc.
It's the same people telling Kash Patel and Pam Bondi, they're saying the Epstein, right? And they're saying, no, now he killed himself. They switched their stories. Who's feeding them the information to change their stories?
Bro, my assumption is that Cash and Dan get in and they're like, now we can finally make a difference. They're brought into a skiff and there's like a shadowy figure smoking a cigarette.
There you go.
And then he slides a picture of their children over, and he goes, "You will do as told." You know?
Well, yeah,
well, it's
we've got
also
dirt
just
on you.
difficult to master these
Who do you guys think? Do you think
bureaucracies,
Epstein? Do you
too.
believe the official story on Epstein? Do you,
Bro,
Hey, I'm torn about that. I talked to the inmate who was
I
his
think he committed
inmate.
suicide. I do.
I think he might have killed himself.
Okay.
Yeah.
We have a lot of disagreements.
Well, here was a guy who wouldn't even eat at a
Do you know how hard it is to
five-star
kill yourself
restaurant.
in the jail
He
cell? Like
wouldn't
the way
even
that they
eat
said
at
he
a
did it?
5-star restaurant because he was so picky in his taste, and yet he's being served for the rest of his life. Prison slop. Yeah, I think he knew the score. He knew he was going to be in prison for the rest of his life.
Wow.
And he checked out.
I've talked to his brother though. His brother absolutely.
There's
believes
no
he
way.
was
The
murdered.
cameras mysteriously are out that night. There's too
guards
many
fell asleep.
There's always weird stuff
inconsistencies.
when things happen.
The
That's what I'm
autopsy is
saying,
really
though.
weird.
So-
The private autopsy that his brother ran is really
and they
interesting.
put out surveillance footage with missing footage
Yeah.
that wasn't even of the
I'm gonna
cell,
say
like-
his brother kind of changed my mind. I was very
That's
much
what I'm saying.
Like, yeah.
So
But listen,
But again,
don't-
keeping
who are those
open.
people? Who are those people they brought to the White
Robby.
House holding up the Epstein thing? Who are those people?
You're right.
Me.
You're,
That was you?
Yes.
Are you joking?
No, she's not.
My office, it's
So then, what's the deal with that? So then, what did they?
that was
So
just
that,
a
what the?
stunt
Why are they
gone
not
wrong.
coming out
I
now
mean,
going, "Yo,
Robby,
we've been lied to"? What's
This is how Candace has wrapped you up and damaged you.
We can
No,
talk-
that's the point.
that was you?
Listen.
That was
Yes.
me. I
You,
pulled it
you
up,
asked
okay?
an honest question about the Epstein things that make no sense, right?
Yeah.
If we were to follow that same logic with the assassination of Charlie Kirk, it points to U.S. intelligence, Democratic aligned, progressive aligned. But Candace is telling you it's Ben Shapiro, Turning Point, and Israel. Why? Why does she want you to think the wrong thing? Why is the wife of a British lord on the front page of YouTube telling you to think crazy things instead of what you already know the U.S. established order does?
Because her history is to go down these rabbit trails. You can go back to even like her early years, and you can see that she's just a wildly untrained mind that has gravitated her entire career to conspiracy theories, even going back to her,
Indeed.
her earliest
The question
work.
then
It
is,
makes a lot of money.
when Robby asks the legitimate question of how did Epstein kill himself? Why did the cameras go down? We're all curious about that. It leads to what? Powerful elites who don't want to be exposed took out Epstein. Charlie Kirk got Trump in. They are trying to arrest they did arrest Donald Trump. They're trying to imprison him. So who is the most beneficiary of the assassination of Charlie Kirk is not Israel, Egyptian planes, or Ben Shapiro. So then I'm not saying Candace is part of a conspiracy. I'm
Right.
saying she is twisting what you already know to be true into retardation. That's the point. If she was doing her show talking about how she thought that Democrats, the intelligence agencies were involved, I'd be going like,
Well, I mean,
you
look,
know?
when the court case comes out, then I guess she'll lose all credibility if what you're saying is true. And so, because obviously, the evidence will come out in trial, right? So then,
Yeah,
you only have a
and
matter of
it's-
time if that's
yeah, like
if
the
that's
evidence
correct.
of the JFK thing.
Well,
Well, let me tell you this: there were people who went on social media and posted with foreknowledge. It seems that Charlie was going to be murdered. We don't have answers to that. That's a real question. A real question is numerous news reporting websites, as well as we here at Timcast, pulled those posts and said, how did these people predict this?
How old were these people? Are they part of the?
They appeared to be in their late 20s to early 30s, and they were posting on TikTok and Instagram saying things like, you know, one of them is like, Charlie Kirk is going to get it tomorrow. You'll see. One of them was, what's about to happen tomorrow at UVU is going to shock everybody. Mark my words. And then they retweet themselves saying, you know, I told you so. Stuff like that. How did they know? There's also reporting that at Tyler Robinson and Twiggs' home in the week or so prior, a bunch of cars had gathered for meetings. And people are, so the questions we have there are, who are these people? But now you get these fake stories like, how did he dismantle the gun? He didn't. Someone just
well,
made
that's the
that
thing.
up.
I don't know if I agree with you on because from the video I've seen, it doesn't look like he's carrying a gun off the roof. But
He's carrying a gun and a towel.
I didn't see that video.
See, the problem with a lot of what Candace does too is she leaves out important context for her viewers, and so her viewers don't realize that when she's feeding them information or misinformation, that there's a lot of context that's being left out. I mean, I saw her do this with Brigitte Macron. She said that the Macrons must be perverts because Emmanuel Macron's favorite writer is the French Nobel laureate André Gide. Well, yes, and Candace says he was a pederast, and so therefore, ergo, if this is your favorite author, then that says that that the Macrons must also be perverts. Well, okay, he was also one of the most famous writers in French history, Nobel laureate. Maybe he's just this guy was just a huge literary figure. It's not. In other words, there's always an Occam's razor, easy, simple solution, and Candace bypasses it whenever she can, and then she leaves out important context for her audience.
I'll give you a good example. Candace Owens tweeted, and this is very personal, so of course I'm going personal. The shooting that Tim Pool survived in December of 2022 was committed by his brother. What did people start doing? Posting pictures of Chris, claiming that he broke into my house and got shot at by security guards because he was trying to kill me and he fired back or something like that. Claimed that he broke into my house, we called security, and then he fled from the property. Candace's intention there was to misrepresent the facts and lie so that people would come to the wrong conclusion. What's the real story? Well, at the time, as we published on our website, and I tweeted, at another property I own, where I was not there, burglars broke in and a staff member opened fire on them and they fled. That was it. I never said I survived a shooting. I never insinuated I was at a shooting. And to imply that there was a shooting I claimed I survived committed by my brother, what did everyone come to believe? People began posting photos of my brother saying Chris shot at Tim over a dispute. And I'm just like, holy shit. It Now, what do you think would have happened if Candace instead tweeted, in December of 2022, Tim Pool reported a burglary at a different property in West Virginia he owned that was not his studio, where burglars got shot at. I think his brother was the one who was shooting at the burglars. People would be like, I don't care. Who cares? That's not a story. It's not. But she wants to twist it in a way to make it seem like my brother is trying to kill me, because people then started claiming that Tim has domestic issues. Tim is only mad at
Well,
Candace.
she basically called you a wife beater too in her example.
I'm not going to go there because I don't agree with that. She said Tim Pool seems like the kind of guy who lost $100,000 playing on poker and then goes and beats his wife. I'm not your wife. Don't take it out on me.
You don't think that was a calculated choice of analogy there? That she could have, especially with the poker being something relevant? Because what she's doing is, we all know that you play poker. And so she includes, this is her game. She includes a detail that is true and then links it to something that is defamatory.
Well, I just watched Tim play on the WPT and he did really good and he actually won money. He's playing really good. I've never seen him lose. I play poker with him all the time. I've never seen him lose more than, $1,000 or something. But
actually, I would say this, Robby. You've never actually seen me lose a real game I've played.
I've never seen you lose a lot of money. It's very small amounts. I've seen you.
When we play like low stakes and I'm goofing off, Robby's like, "Why are you goofing off?" But when I play, well, to be fair, no, I lost money at the lodge. That happened. But they kind of want us to go off. But this is besides the point. I agree with you.
That's exactly.
She knows that we announced we were doing a professional poker game. She knows that her audience doesn't understand what poker is. So she says Tim's frustrated about something. He must have lost a lot of money. Blah, 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 which is just fake. It's not true. And then she has these people tweeting things like, Tim's a degenerate gambler who's wasting all his money gambling, when this is sponsorship money. Companies come to me and say, you're going to be on a TV show. These shows get licensed. We would like you to represent our brand. We will give you money. I use that money to play the poker game, win or lose. It's a sponsor show. I can't speak for the other players. Some of these people are just wealthy and degenerate, right? But yes, I will agree with that. However, it was not the worst. It was half as bad. She said, I'm not your wife. Don't take it out on me. So there is a bit of, it's a stronger metaphor, as opposed to if she said something like, well, Tim Pool's been talking about these high stakes poker games. I wouldn't be surprised if he lost $100,000. He probably beats his wife. That would be different.
It's definitely worse, but I still think she knows what she's doing.
She absolutely knows what she's doing.
People love online confrontations. I mean, people are gonna exaggerate. I mean, look, people love this stuff. People are looking forward to soap operas.
You're not saying Candace is just exaggerating. I'm not talking about the Tim comment anymore, but in general, her project. Would you agree? Let's say this. Would you agree that if she is wrong, then what she is doing, if she's wrong about her theories, then what she's doing is very destructive and unethical? Would you agree with that?
I mean, I don't look at it that way because I don't take it literally. I literally.
Well, you haven't been through it. It's terrible to live through.
First of all, I'm not. You guys make a living. I'm not in that.
No, but this is a really important point. Robby passively absorbs this stuff. Okay. That's the point.
Mm-hmm. No, that is that's.
You've seen some of her stuff. You're entertained by some of it, and then you end up.
Did I take Alex Jones literally growing up? No, I found him entertaining. I listened to Alex Jones. Some of the stuff he says is truthful.
The point is, people
you believe some of it.
Yes,
that's the point.
Up until now, though, Candace has not been understood to be an Alex Jones. I think that one of the positive developments that's come out of the last couple of weeks. No, but you're just saying, well, I used to listen to Alex Jones. I'm just saying that up until this point, people believed that Candace was actually a credible voice, and I think that now the mainstream, at least, are finally cluing into the fact that she's a crackpot.
I just got to go here. I just got to do it.
Okay.
The dancing Israelis.
Okay.
Robby, who are the dancing Israelis?
There was the guys that got arrested. From what I remember reading about it, it was in New Jersey. They were celebrating. They were celebrating, smiling, watching the.
They were on a rooftop filming,
celebrating the towers come down.
And they were seen dancing and celebrating, or something to that effect. Mm-hmm. And their argument was, we were celebrating because now America would understand what we've been going through. The question then is, how did they know it was Islamic terrorists? So it's very strange. Here's the funny thing about that. There's nothing strong or definitive, just interesting questions. I have no problem with people bring up the USS Liberty or any of these things. What these people do, I will go on a side tangent, is they edited a fake video of me telling Ian not to talk about the USS Liberty to make it seem like I was working for Israel and trying to suppress things. When I literally say USS Liberty, I'll read your super chat. Here's the funny thing. Robby, would you mind reading that for me?
Read what? What part?
The highlighted part.
How can you see that?
Let's see. I've got it a little closer. Yes, families of 9/11 victims are suing the Saudi government, alleging officials aided the hijackers.
A case that has faced years of legal battles over foreign sovereign immunity, but recently cleared a major hurdle in August of 2025 when a federal judge allowed the case to proceed under the Justice Against Sponsors of Terrorism Act. This allows victims' families to seek accountability, citing evidence suggesting Saudi involvement, though Saudi Arabia has long argued it's not liable. We actually have court proceedings with evidence on the record for 10 years that the Saudis were involved in 9/11, and yet these retards are still screaming it was Israel. By all means, I have questions about Mossad and what Israel does and what they want to know about, what they don't know about. But we actually have, for some time, I'm not saying proof, evidence that the Saudis were involved in 9/11.
Okay.
And where are these people to be like, whoa? I think Saudi Arabia has undue influence on the United States. They spend hundreds of millions
People
of
have
dollars.
been saying that, though. I feel like I've been hearing that a lot since 9/11.
Yes, but I'm talking about the Zog Candace people.
Oh, okay. Okay. Gotcha.
Their brains can't wrap their head. They can't be wrap around.
Well, they're hypnotized by.
Indeed, and there's a lot of them, and they're dangerous.
And let's also, acknowledge that, like, I don't know what to think about the Israeli-Palestinian crisis. That's above my pay grade. But let's acknowledge, too, that has significantly inflamed anger at Israel, too. So, I mean, that's a big factor in this as well.
You know, we've had these debates, and the funny thing is, someone called me a Zionist in the super chat, and I read the super chat, and they were like, "Tim's a Zionist, blah blah blah," and then I said, "Bro, I literally don't even think the U.S. government should give funding to Israel. They can fight their own wars. I don't want to be involved in that. So how does that make me a Zionist?" And then they super chatted again saying, "Because you think there is an Israel." In their minds, Israel is a rubber stamp over Palestine, and you are supposed to say Palestine, not Israel. If you believe there actually is an Israeli government and system, you are a Zionist. So
That's where we're at now.
well, that's where we've been for a long time. And so I'm sitting here being like, there's a country called Israel. They have a government. They have a military. They have weapons. We give with funding. I'm not in favor of any of that stuff. No. They go, it's Palestine. Israel's an occupying force. You're a Zionist. There's just no answer. You must be in the worldview that there's no Israel. Otherwise, you are a Zionist. To at least most of
some of them, yeah.
Or a large number. I don't know. I'm
Okay.
not going to do
Maybe so.
stats
Yeah,
or
maybe
whatever.
so.
So simply being in the position of, yeah, Mossad does messed up shit. And Israel does have a lot of influence in the United States. But, you said but. You're a Zionist. Zog. And I'm like, okay, if we can't reasonably assess the facts and try and figure out what's really going on, then we're cooked anyway. So maybe we should just, I don't know, you know what I'll do? Timcast IRL, we'll get like 5 golden retriever puppies. And from now on, the stream will just be every day at 8 o'clock. It's just the puppies running around.
That's a great idea.
That's just it.
So cute.
Yeah.
Unity
There you
and
go.
puppies.
Our female viewership will skyrocket.
Hugging strangers. Let's
Hugging
just.
strangers.
You know what I think has gotten lost in discussions of Charlie Kirk's killing and the motivations for it? For some reason, people are not focusing on the Freudian, I know Candace hates Freud, but the Freudian psychosexual element of Tyler Robinson's motive. You know, I think what you have here, honestly, I think it's a personal psychodrama. I think you have someone who was with Tyler, who was into really kinky, weird sex stuff, trannies, furries, all of that, and he could not handle it, and so he exteriorized and projected his own self-hatred onto Charlie Kirk and then killed Kirk to get rid of his own internal self-hatred. And I just think it's interesting that people are so quick to gravitate to the political angles and the political conspiracies instead of what seems patently obvious to me, that this was actually a personal psychosexual drama going on with them.
I agree. I think I look at it like probabilistically. Is there a probability that government agents, Israel, whoever killed Charlie Kirk? Yes. The probability it's low. Based on what we already know, you'd have to have Kash Patel, Dan Bongino, all of the FBI agents, the cops involved,
right?
People at turning, they'd have to be involved in plotting this.
That's not manageable.
So here's the thing. I was told this funny story by a physicist one time. It was a long time ago, and he said that we have these theory. We have a string theory. We have M theory. Right? These are the grand theory of the universe. And whenever they run into a problem with their theory, like this mathematically doesn't make sense, they're just like, add a dimension. Just make it fit.
Right.
They're basically taking the puzzle piece that doesn't fit and they're smashing it with a hammer.
Right.
That's what Candace does.
Right. Yes.
In order
Make it
for
fit.
her to make it true that Israel or government agents killed Charlie, you have to then create a shitload of other conspiracies, which
Right.
is just silly.
Right.
How many times can you win the lottery in a row? You know what I mean? The likelihood is I think it's this. I think Robinson is the person who did it. He's the suspect, so we don't know for sure yet. We'll see the evidence, but I believe evidence points to this individual. How then do you explain the 30-06? How do you explain, they found the weapon? And well, those are much more easily explained than Egyptian planes circling
Right.
Erica Kirk.
Exactly.
How do you explain? Okay, I'll give you a conspiracy. The text messages, they don't make sense. Okay, what's easier to explain?
They're kind of retarded.
Do you think it's what is more likely, that Robinson and Twiggs fabricated messages to create fake evidence because they planned an assassination, or the FBI fabricated the messages after the fact to try and convict somebody?
Right. The former is much more likely.
So I looked at it like this. Those messages do look fake. However, some people have come out and said, have you met these trans furry Reddit people?
Exactly.
Also,
They talk like they're in a movie
Weirdos.
because they're
Yep.
retarded.
Yep.
But you also look at this, and what did it do? It created plausible deniability for any involvement of the boyfriend. So let's say we're looking at a group of people who are progressive, liberal aligned, who wanted to kill Charlie Kirk because they knew he was winning. They met and discussed it. They're all going down for this. How does Robinson protect his boyfriend from going to prison? They plan out fake messages so that when they go to court, you can create reasonable doubt. It's that simple.
How many cameras are on that campus, though? Reasonable doubt. You see the guy. You're going to see a guy carrying
Twigs.
something.
So let me put it like this. Twigs and Robinson are dating. They both agree they want Charlie dead. I'm not saying this is true. I'm saying hypothetically. Twigs then says, I want to be inoculated from this action. So let's script this message right now between us where I say, oh, heavens, no, I'm not involved. How could you do this? So everyone then says, why do these messages look so script? Because they planned it to create reasonable doubt in court. If you plan it, do you know what percentage of premeditated murders are solved, Robby, on average?
50%.
It's low. Yeah, it's
No,
like a third.
It's
It's tiny.
Really?
Yeah.
It's very, very low.
small. It's pretty easy to get away with crimes. People don't know that.
Let me tell you a story. There was it's apocryphal or whatever. It's an urban legend in Chicago. There was a hero, Robby. His friend had fallen into the Des Plaines River and was drowning. This poor man, crying, called 911 and jumped in to save his friend's life. He didn't make it. When those police arrived, they saw this desperate man dragging his friend's dead body from the water, crying. Please help me, he said. He was a hero, though. His friend was drunk and fell in, and he jumped in to save him. It's a tragic story, it is. But bless that hero's heart, it happened 6 more times.
Huh?
That's right. His friends kept falling in rivers, drunk and dying. You know what he was doing? You know what he was doing?
He's a serial killer.
He's a serial killer. He was getting people drunk, pushing them in the water.
Is it a true story?
Well, it's apocryphal, maybe an urban legend, but as the story goes, in suburban Chicago, there was a man who kept calling in, help, my friend is drowning. And the police would arrive to find him in the water, pulling the person out. And what they found to be was that he would actually get people plastered drunk, say, let's take a walk, push him in, call 911, say, help, my friend's drowning, jump in, drown them. And then when the police arrived, he's saying, I'm trying to save them. And a cop was reading a newspaper and saw this guy's name as a local hero whose friends drowned. He said, wait a minute. That's the guy that we saw. How does it happen more than one time? He got caught because he did it more than one time. But think about that scenario. He wanted to kill somebody, so he invites him to a bar, gets him really drunk, blackout drunk, says, don't worry, drinks are on me. They're stumbling around. He says, so check out the lake. It's beautiful right now. Pushes the guy in. There's no witnesses. He calls 911. My friend just fell in the river. What do I do?
Yeah. There's a lot of sociopaths
Premeditated
out
murder
there.
is extremely easy to get away with. It's terrifying. So I'm going to say it again. What is the more likely scenario? It's certainly possible the feds fabricated these messages because they're in on it. I don't know. The more likely scenario, in my opinion, is we know there are vehicles outside of their residence. We know there are many other trans furry weirdos that expressed foreknowledge. Seems to me that more people were involved in the organizing of this. It is very difficult to map out and plan this thing by yourself. Robinson was the shooter because he was trained by his dad or whatever.
Yeah.
This is what the media's reporting. So he knew how to take the shot. And so I'd imagine what makes the most sense, there's a meeting at the property, fact. These other people tweeted foreknowledge, fact. What makes sense? They met, discussed it. Robinson, you're the shooter. You do it. You're the only one who knows how. And we're going to inoculate the rest of us from legal liability if it comes down to it. So they fabricate a message of Lance Twix going, "Oh no, I can't believe you killed the guy who hates me. Why would this happen?" And then everyone goes, "Those messages look weird." Yes, because a bunch of crackpot trans furry weirdos who wanted to kill Charlie Kirk premeditated it. I don't know they did.
You better hope for
I'm not
conjugal.
accusing
You
anybody
better
of any
hope for
crimes.
conjugal visits, man. 'cause
I'm simply
what's-
saying it is infinitely more plausible that happened than Kash Patel and the FBI scripted messages to convict a guy who was not involved. The other point is, Candace has claimed that Robinson didn't do it, or that she doesn't think he did it, and that I'm not sure if this was her. I guess I try to be careful here, but that his parents didn't really turn him in, and all that's fake. His parents are right there in court. They could have walked outside and said, "Our son is innocent."
Oh, it's totally ridiculous. Yeah,
They
the idea that
definitely-
his parents would have, in any way, would be allowing any of this, knowing it not to be true, or that they're so scared of the government that they're going along. It's ridiculous.
So,
Why
questions.
is nobody allowed to get an interview with him? Why has nobody interviewed Thomas Crooks? We haven't heard anything about what happened with him.
Could it be because he doesn't want to be interviewed?
I don't think before a trial, anyone, none
Has
of
the
his
Thomas
legal-
Crooks trial happened?
Bro, there are people I
Oh,
know.
Thomas Crooks?
I have sources who worked, who provided security for Candace, who don't want to speak up because they're entering litigation.
Yeah.
Your lawyer will say, "Shut your." Let me do this. Akilah Hughes v. Carl Benjamin. Do you remember this one?
No.
You remember this one? I love it so much. Carl Benjamin, aka Sargon of Akkad, good friend, good man, took a video from Akilah Hughes when she was at the DNC. I think it was like 2016. I'm not sure, and he reposted it. And he titled it something like the absolute state of the liberal mind or something like this. She then filed a takedown on YouTube saying it's copyright infringement because all he did was upload the video. And you can't do that. It's not transformative. It's just he stole my copyright. Carl filed a counterclaim and got it restored. She then filed an actual lawsuit to get it removed, which is what you have to do on YouTube, suing him for copyright infringement. She would not shut the fuck up. Tweeting out, "I'm taking his money. He's fucked. I'm going to crush him." And Carl just said, "I can't talk about it. It's litigation." Guess who won?
Sorry.
Carl. First, on the merits, I think he won in summary judgment. And then he went for fees. It is fair use to re-upload someone's video. The title of the video itself was the commentary. That's allowed. What hurt Akilah very seriously was that she was going online and talking mad shit about how she was going to take his money from him. And it made it seem like she didn't actually care about the merits of the infringement, but that she had a personal beef with him because of politics she was going after him for. Carl, shut up. Everyone and their mother knows before a proceeding of any kind, shut your mouth. And so then people go, why won't the prosecutors release the video from the rooftop? What? You want them to taint the jury pool, release the evidence, and give the defense 2 years to prepare? That's ridiculous. Now, the defense does need to be provided with the evidence, of course, but not the perspective and the arguments of the prosecution and the FBI. That's retarded. So they released some because they were trying to get tips. They got a tip. Dude got turned in.
But you don't think
Here's
they
where we
had
are.
better videos to release? They chose the one of the grainy footage jumping off the roof. Why didn't they release? There's something better out there. There's tons of cameras on that campus. If they're
That's
trying to get tips, why wouldn't they release it better?
That's a great question, Robby, but it worked. Could it have been that they said, we want to release as little as possible, but if we have to release more, and they didn't have to?
I just think they chose to. 'Cause
There's no reason to launch your best evidence.
Right.
You start light.
Makes no sense.
Just to pacify conspiracy theorists. Yeah, it's not strategically sensible.
it's just that footage is just so.
So
weird.
what? It
I,
worked.
I walked
So-
the
but so what it
campus.
How did it? You mean
They
it
got
worked?
him.
Oh, you mean by his
Someone
family
saw
turning
the
him?
footage, and the photos of him, and they said, I know who that is, and he got turned in. Perhaps if he didn't get turned in, 3 days later, they would have said, we're going to release more footage in an effort to try and find the suspect, but they did not need to.
The
yeah.
staircase is very accessible. I walked up, where
you've been there?
Yeah, I toured the campus.
Okay. Why did
That's
they close?
major security fault, by the way.
Conspiracy theorists.
No, I walked, and
What
I have
was
a
up
video.
with? Is it true that they covered they put
No.
concrete in?
Yes,
That's not true.
But I'll tell you. Yes, but there's a reason.
not where Charlie was. That was slightly like some feet away from where
No,
Charlie was.
they covered where he was sitting. I talked to the person who did it.
They covered where he was sitting.
Well, they covered it with pavers because the kids were the FBI had, they took over for 4 days. They did their investigation, and when they were done, the kids were coming back to school, and it looked like a graveyard. They had cut out where his body, like I talked to the person who made the decision. This person didn't know that it would turn into a whole conspiracy, but there was an outline of his body in the grass, and it was blood soaked. So they didn't want. It's at the center of camp. It's a
Right,
small
right.
area. They didn't want these kids who have been traumatized coming back. Everyone has to walk through what looks like essentially a graveyard. So they put the pavers over to clean it up and kind of cover up this. And they put the flowers there. It all made sense. And then they pulled up because Candace was saying that there was maybe secret tunnels. They pulled it up. It was plumbing for the fountains that are everywhere.
So the big question is, did Erica show Candace the 4K footage from behind, which would seal a lot of theories, a lot of conspiracy theories would go dead if we could see that footage, right?
There is other footage we haven't seen. We're not going to see it.
Did they show Candace in the meeting is what I'm asking.
Candace was not in a meeting.
With Erica
So
Kirk.
let's start.
With Erica Kirk. She could have shown her the 4K footage that people want to see. The guy took down, people that watch Candace.
Maybe they did.
That guy took down the
Maybe
camera.
they did.
But why does she owe that to her? Why does Candace get to have
It would squash
But she's gonna go-
questioning.
She got a big following, and maybe she did. That's like
That'd be
It's
helpful.
hard to know with her because
Candace
she
isn't
withholds
telling us what
She
Erica
does
said.
withhold. And that's the
Yeah.
thing with the Macron lawsuit. When Jessica and I looked at that the other day on her show, on her Substack, is that one of the points that the Macron lawsuit makes so well repeatedly over and over is that Candace deliberately ignored and withheld from her audience evidence that the Macrons were providing that Brigitte was a woman. And
Well, aren't they in
very serious.
Aren't they in
evidence.
litigation right now?
Oh, and she's gonna lose. Candace is gonna get wiped the f out.
You're sure of this?
100%.
she's going to get an
100%.
Alex Jones
Bro, I will
level.
bet you a lot because you.
I'll be
I said it
sitting in
before.
court in a beret.
I said it before.
I
I'll say it
can't wait
again.
then, because
Robby, power dynamics do not work like movies. There is no reality where the Macrons go, Sacre bleu, she has outmaneuvered us legally. No, what's going to happen is they're going to call the State Department and say, nudge the judge. It's done. And they're going to go to the judge and they're going to say, here's my theory.
she can do a jury trial. She doesn't do a
Won't
judge.
matter.
You don't
the
even
judge
have to
can
nudge
the
the
judge can
judge,
throw evidence
honestly.
out.
It's
Look
so
at Alex
compelling.
Jones. The judge can summary judgment.
And they do.
And I think we're very likely going to see a summary judgment because they can technicality whatever they want. I think if Candace is telling the truth about Trump calling her, and now I will say this, I have sources, of course, in the Trump admin as well, and I have been told that Trump did call her.
Trump will call anyone, though, by the way. Trump loves the phone.
Apparently the Macrons
Can you call him on FaceTime?
tried, listen,
Should we call him?
the Macrons tried telling Candace, we can prove this is not true, please stop. And she said, go fuck yourself. It makes me money. Not literally. She basically said, no,
But
I don't
that's
care
the
what
gist,
evidence you
yeah.
have. So the Macrons then went to the Trump admin and said, stop this. And they, and now this is my speculation. The reporting is they actually did go to Trump and say, please stop.
Yeah.
Trump called Candace, said, please stop. After that, here's my speculation. The Trump admin tells the Macrons she's not going to stop, and there's nothing legally that we as the government can do in the United States to stop someone from saying these things. It's a civil matter. In order for her to stop, you need the official proceedings. So we will stop her, but it's going to be through this mechanism. So I guarantee you what's happening is the Macrons then said, tell us what to do and we'll do it. File a lawsuit and we'll make sure the judge says you win. It doesn't matter if Candace is right. It doesn't matter if Brigitte Macron is actually a man. What matters is Donald Trump is not going to sacrifice NATO negotiations over Candace's stupid show about Brigitte being a man. Emmanuel's going to say, listen, we hold a lot of weight in NATO and the EU, and we are asking you to make this happen. And Trump's like, I'll make it happen. It's going to go to a judge. The judge is going to be like, Candace Owens is found in default. Bang, $20 billion. And then they're going to come and seize her assets. It will happen. They did it to Alex Jones for less. Alex Jones didn't even go after world leaders. Alex Jones went after victims of a shooting, the families. And they destroyed them because it was politically expedient.
I don't even think that the Macrons need Trump to intervene or the administration to intervene. I think that it is a really strong case. I've looked at a lot of defamation cases over the years, and this is not a situation of Blake Lively or Amber Heard asserting that they were abused. This is a situation of someone who has been given, Candace Owens, been given all of this evidence that what she's saying is not true, and then she proceeds to go forward, ignore that, manipulate her audience, withhold context, withhold evidence, and monetize it. And apparently in these types of defamation suits, if someone goes to the lengths of monetizing lies, then they really throw the book at you for that.
I think what happened with the Erica Kirk meeting, the reason why Candace tried to backpedal right away, and now she's going a bit nuts, but I feel like she has been lighter on TPUSA.
Not yesterday.
What did she-
Yesterday, she had a crackpot former military guy on. It looks like almost, I think, a paranoid schizophrenic, frankly, is my view of it. And he implicated Erica Kirk, and he implicated the U.S. government, and she did not push back at all. She's gone down the rabbit hole back again because she got too much pushback from her
She's
audience.
scared of her own audience.
Her audience, yeah,
Yes.
she's created a monster, and they turned on her when she capitulated to
She's a
TPUSA,
clone.
and she's run back to that now.
I think Erica Kirk probably just said, here's the amount of money we lost when you tweeted to pull our donations.
Yeah.
And then what did Candace say? I shouldn't have said that. She walked it back on her show that next day. She said, maybe I went too far saying...
She walked some things back on that show, but she
I don't
got
think she feels
she
bad
got
about
so
anything.
much
she
pushback.
doesn't feel bad about it. That meeting, it was Graham Allen said this. That was an arbitration. Erica Kirk said, let's have a private meeting to discuss this. No. That was an arbitration. Candace even tweeted out she talked to Erica's lawyer. Why was Erica's lawyer there?
No, she claims that
on the phone.
on the phone. That's right. She
Right.
said they called the lawyer at one
Right.
point to ask about something. That's Candace's story. But I agree with you. I mean, one of the things that you can do to strengthen a defamation case is you can actually meet with the other
Yes.
party, and that establishes then that they've been warned, they know better, and then you strengthen your defamation case then by
Indeed.
having given that warning.
I think Turning Point, if she pursues it, they will file a massive suit against her.
Yeah.
But what she's doing, what I call the Three Stooges syndrome lawsuit defamation strategy, and this is where the Three Stooges all try to go through the door at the same time. They get stuck. It's a Simpsons reference to when Mr. Burns. It's called Three Stooges syndrome, as every disease is trying to get into his body at the same time, so it doesn't work. What she's doing is she's defaming as many people as possible, like me, for instance, and my family. And the crazy thing is, my brother was a private citizen, not a public figure. Accusing him of trying to kill me is defamation per se, instantly actionable. She is defaming everybody. So what happens? When we sue, and this has happened before, she will file a motion with the court that we are currently undergoing litigation on similar things, and they either need to combine the case or postpone it because it's impossible for us to be in all these hearings at once. It's a fact. Mm-hmm. Now, I'm not saying she's literally doing that strategy, but she certainly is defaming literally everybody. Now implying Ben Shapiro killed Charlie Kirk, putting me on the thumbnail saying who benefited from Charlie Kirk's assassination. She's literally like, let's defame everyone we can. That way, when we get 27 different lawsuits, we can't be physically in court for all of them, and they can't do anything about it. So it just extends it all out for 20 years. But she's going to get obliterated. I will put money down on
When's
this.
the? When,
You know
I
what?
can't wait for the trial. When is it?
Call sheet?
It's not scheduled yet.
Is there a call sheet contract for whether Candace will lose? Because I will bet on it.
Polymarket?
Call sheet. You can't do polymarket in the US, can you?
VPN.
Candace call sheet Macron.
I'd like to see this. The
I'd like to
odds.
see this.
It's
Bridget
ama-
Macron. Bro. No. It's before 2028. I'd look at 64% chance. Bro, I'm gonna put money on this one. Because people need to understand, guys. Ask this simple question. Do you believe the controllers, the leaders of France, a nation state, are going to lose any kind of fight with a private citizen in the United States?
I mean, they're very powerful.
Bro, the Macrons can go to Trump and say, we will fuck you up in the EU and NATO. You have no idea the lengths we will go unless you make her stop. And Trump's going to be like, done. The amount of power the Macrons have
That's true.
compared to what the power Candace Owens has, she is a fraction. The Macrons have standing armies, and they have, I don't know how many nukes does France have? A handful? Candace Owens has a YouTube channel. The Macrons want to play it right. She is going up against a nation state. She's not going to win. This is never going to happen.
Isn't it interesting that she has not spoken anymore since she dropped that bombshell over Thanksgiving about the supposed assassination plot? That sure went away really fast. I think again, that's another sign that she's full of shit. It's like, Candace, I thought that you were going to be assassinated and you were all worried because there was a French female assassin and there was an Israeli assassin. And also the U.S. government apparently was aware of it.
Can we get a roundtable discussion with everyone here? And Candace, if you're watching, can we just get a debate going in person where people can
Sure.
actually question and have a conversation with her? I think that'd be
She
a great
was,
idea.
Sure.
she's already been offered numerous chances to do this, and she turns them all down. Even the sit down with Erica Kirk was supposed to be live, and she refused to do it.
Well, she made, CNN made her look so bad, which is that's a rarity that CNN gets the one up on anyone. But they made her look so bad. I don't think she'll do another interview where
She
she's
went on
challenged.
Piers.
And
Piers Morgan challenged
He
her.
did destroy her too.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Yeah.
But you're right. Yeah, you're right.
I don't know why she did that. But, whatever.
I think that she flails a lot more than we would think. I think actually she seems cool, calm, and collected in the way that she presents herself, and that's why she's so insidious. Is people look at her and they see her, so she's so well coiffed and she's so presentable and she's so confident and her tone is so nice and professional, and they think, how could this woman be a crackpot? But I think that actually, if you look at her history, going back to Social Autopsy, going back to the Gamergate and all that. I mean, if you look at her entire history with all of that, you can see that she just flails around from side to side. I mean, she used to be a liberal until Ethan Ralph talked her into becoming a
she's
conservative.
still a liberal.
And
And then she accuses everyone else of being a liberal.
she's a liberal.
Right.
Look at her. It's kind of wild, too, because her audience and the Young Turks overlap.
Yeah, for sure.
One thing I said is the new left-right paradigm is going to be Israel. It's going to be a mixture of Israel ambivalent to pro-Israel versus anti-Israel. Considering that the Young Turks are sort of, their audience is sort of unifying with Candace.
Yeah.
They're
doing videos about Candace a lot now, I saw.
Yeah, and the audience is all praising Candace, saying she's great. And Anna Kasparian has a video where she's like, I've been watching a ton of Candace Owens.
Oh, she's gleeful. Anna Kasparian is gleeful about it. And now
'Cause they
that
hate
is
Israel.
Machiavellian, because she knows, Anna Kasparian knows that it's bullshit, but
They
she
just
loves it.
hate
They
Israel.
love
So
it.
does Megyn Kelly. Megyn Kelly knows.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
Megyn Kelly, you are a coward. Sorry, but you are.
I still find Candace authentic in the way that she really wants to find the truth for Charlie Kirk's murder. I really do.
She hated Charlie Kirk.
I don't agree with that.
It's a fact.
Well,
Dude, Charlie Kirk basically
Bro,
pushed
here's
her
the
out of
funny thing.
she
USA.
showed the
TPUSA.
text messages of them talking.
8 years ago.
Here's the thing. I'm not
8
gonna
years ago?
I'm not gonna expose publicly the people who are going like. Candace was going around telling people she hated Charlie Kirk.
I haven't seen evidence of this.
You'll see it firsthand when you walk out of this room.
Of this.
He
Okay.
basically pushed her out of TPUSA,
Yeah.
and he ended up. And if you believe, and if also you believe that she had a crush on him, he chose her physical opposite for his wife.
I've sort of changed a little bit on that because she was dating someone the whole time. I think it's more of a business second wife syndrome that
I think she wanted to be him. She was competitive and
She
wanted
wanted
to
to-
have what
Yeah,
he had
yeah.
and build what he built.
she wanted to inherit TPUSA.
Yeah.
She was a part of it. Charlie had a poster in his studio of him and Candace like waving to the crowd, and it's like Turning Point, Amfest and all that stuff. And she was ousted, and Charlie
Yeah.
did not bring her back. She was
Well,
pissed.
And I talked
Yeah,
to people
yeah.
close to Charlie, members of his family, and they said Charlie was believed, you keep your enemies closer. And
That's right.
He was very much against what she had become in the last couple years, but he was the kind of guy who was going to
He
keep
was a
her
Hold on,
close.
smooth
hold on.
operator.
I got
and
you.
he
From
knew
what
that
I
he
read,
had
Wait, wait,
to
wait, hold on,
nuts.
he was
Robbie.
bringing her on
Pacified.
tour.
Robbie, I'm gonna
this
call you
year.
out. I'm gonna call you out, Robbie.
According to
Robbie,
Candace?
Robbie, did someone shoot at my property?
Yes.
You saw the video?
Yes. So when
How many videos of it did I show you?
I defended you. I was
Were
with
you
you
with
that day.
me
I
when
was
it-
with
when we
you that
found out
day. I
it-
saw the video, and it's a truthful thing. So
Why
the
is
internet
Candace saying it
spins-
didn't happen? You think she's being authentic?
Not on that.
Isn't that crazy? So when
I said
tell
only
you,
on the Charlie Kirk thing.
when I tell you
She doesn't have.
that she was telling people she hated Charlie Kirk, you already know she lied about that. Why would you think I'm lying to you right now?
What is the thing she said about the? Because I don't remember what she said about the shooting.
She said it's a fake shooting. It never happened.
Oh, it definitely happened. I saw the video
That's
when I was
right.
with you.
And
But she'll spin whatever she needs to
Right.
to
I
suit the narrative.
I truly do find the one thing I will say is I just get the energetically from her that she wants to find the truth.
She's a good
on this
actress.
specific
She's a
thing.
good scammer.
she's a great scammer if she's convinced Robbie, even though he knows she lied about the
I'm
shooting
pretty
on
good at
property.
reading energies. I'm pretty good at reading. I
She
read
said
poker
the
hands
shooting
really well.
didn't happen. Robbie is actually really good at nailing people's poker hands. It's probably wild.
That's what I'm saying. I just
don't
get
doubt it.
Milo, and Milo was
No,
on the
no,
show when,
you- I
when
don't doubt
Milo
it.
was
Yeah.
in
Oh,
the
yeah, yeah.
when Milo was in town. He was saying that too. And
It was
Why
literally
do
right.
you keep having Milo on? Can I just say,
What's
I,
wrong
don't,
with
I think he's
Milo?
so
Sorry, I like Milo.
overrated.
I love
I don't
Milo.
understand.
Milo,
I don't understand.
It's you know,
I'm sorry, I wasn't trying to attack you, but I'm just baffled. Anytime anyone gives him a platform, I just don't understand.
he's very entertaining.
I disagree
about
with
the
Milo
entertainment.
greatly on all of these things.
course.
I question his sincerity on some of these issues. I think it's more personal than that. But Milo has been consistently good to me. And
enough.
I don't agree with this Tucker shouldn't platform Nick Fuentes thing. I don't agree with like why would you have Milo on? I will challenge Milo where I think he needs to be challenged, but When there have been things behind the scenes that have popped up, Milo's not wronged me in any very
I'm
serious
not
ways.
saying it's wrong to have him on. I just always think that he's just kind of a vacuous blowhard, but maybe that's just me.
That's true, Milo.
Okay.
You're a vacuous
He
blowhard.
called me a crazy bitch, and I feel like I need to live up to that reputation in the last 15 minutes.
He trolls everyone. He trolls me.
He
When he
does,
met
he
me, he
does,
trolled
yeah.
me.
I think he's funny too.
He's
I
amazing.
actually like Milo, but I
But
don't.
see, the thing is, I
it's-
don't take things so
it's
literally and serious.
entertainment.
I laugh at everything. I think things are a joke. I think the world's a stage. I like to laugh.
But it's sort of getting exhausting to me. I'm
You
getting
know,
burnt
I'm
out.
not
on.
in your
I
situation.
know we're different worlds. I
Yeah.
think being. What do you think of Nick Fuentes?
There's a lot to think about.
Nick had
Fuentes.
Tim's back recently.
I know. That's
Yeah,
why
yeah.
I'm asking. Everything's weird right now.
I think Nick is trying to moderate because he's realizing that he was a bit intemperate in his youth. And it's been bad for his future prospects because he actually is a charismatic personality on
He
media.
is,
Very
yeah,
talented.
very effective.
I think he's realized that if he pulls it back about 30-40%, he'd actually be a thought leader. And by constantly trying to be this edgelord praising Hitler and Stalin, he's actually made it impossible to grow. So
Right. Yeah.
he's smart.
Yeah.
Here's the funny thing. I understand a lot of his perspective because he actually, I don't know if he grew up, but he lives or lived a few miles away from where I grew up. You know, you want to get something, this is crazy. Nick Fuentes, Tim Pool, and Jimmy Dore from within a few miles of each other.
It's a conspiracy. Oh my God.
Jimmy, yeah.
You're all
Jimmy,
Mossad
Jimmy,
agents.
Jimmy lived, he's a lot older than me, but I found this out when I went on his show. He's like, where you from? I'm like, Chicago. And he's like, no kidding, me too. Where at? And I was like, Midway. And he goes, no kidding, me too. Where by? I was like, by Vidham Park. And he goes, shut the.
What's in the water there?
But he's like 30 years older than me. So I was a little kid, and literally he was 2 blocks away from me. And Fuentes was a few miles away from where we were.
They all went to
from
the same.
exact
They all went to
area.
the same Portillo's together.
Probably. No, for real. The closest Portillo's was only a couple miles from all of us.
Yeah.
The closest Portillo's to Nick is about probably 2 miles from him, and for me the same.
I love Portillo's.
On Archer in Harlem, and it's like the best Portillo's. Everybody knows
Oh.
it. It's amazing.
It's the best fast food ever.
It is. So,
Really?
Oh yeah. Are you kidding
cheese
me?
fries, chocolate cake
Oh,
shakes.
the Polish sausage and the beef dip. Oh my gosh.
Oh, dude, yeah.
They
Portillo's.
have great strawberry. They have a strawberry shortcake.
I'm hungry.
They take a piece of chocolate cake, put it in a milkshake, and blend it up for you.
It's disgusting.
It's like anyway.
Disgusting.
Nick's worldview on like racism, race, arrest, bro. I've talked about it. Where I grew up, we had 47th Street to the north. I was on 49th Street. When you cross 47th, all black, 100%. If you were a teenager or a young adult from south of 47th and crossed into north of 47th, it wasn't the area was typically referred to as the LeClaire Courts, historic gang territory. Cops would stop you, detain you, and drive you back out because and that's what they'd say. The only reason you're here is to buy drugs. So literally, just being like a white dude walking in the black neighborhood, they'd stop you. There were gangs that would come from 47th and go south into our neighborhood, which was largely like white working class, Polish, some Hispanic. When you cross Cicero to the east, all Hispanic. And then you get into, it gets a bit more Polish towards Pulaski. Our neighborhood was Movimi po polsku written everywhere. These gangbangers would come into our neighborhood and rob everybody. And the cops wouldn't do anything about it because it was racist. So you had a gaggle of young teenage black girls that would come from 47th, from LeClaire Courts, and they would mug young girls in Vidham Park and around the area. What they do is it's what do you call it? A flash mugging. Six young black girls would walk up to a girl and then just frisk her. Each one would grab a different pocket and a purse, and then they'd walk away. Jewelry, watches, purse, wallet, phone, everything gone instantly. Oh my God. We'd call the cops and they'd say, "What do you want us to do about it?" They'd say, "We're not going to go in there and go arrest a bunch of young black girls. We'll get called racist." That's not. I don't know if Nick grew up in that area, but he certainly lived there now. And you grow up with that, you're gonna see the pure racial animosity that exists. Now, what the city did was they bulldozed LeClaire Courts. They promised all of the black people who live there, look, we're going to move you out. We're going to renovate the whole neighborhood because it's in disrepair. And they said, okay, temporarily bulldozed everything and then never built it. And what happened? The gangbangers were scattered. All the people who lived there, many of the black families went to the suburbs, went to Joliet and stuff. So when I see Nick Fuentes say something like he doesn't want to live near black people, his full quote went massively viral. He said, it's not to say there's anything wrong with individual black people. That's stupid, low IQ stuff. It's that everybody knows.
Right.
Everybody
Right.
knows.
Right.
When you live in these areas, and then he talks about the crime rates, what the police react.
You know what it entails. Yes.
Yeah.
Right.
And you know why he gets popularity is because for too long conservatives didn't want to bring up these issues because they don't want to sound racist.
Right.
Charlie Kirk did.
Charlie Kirk did, and Democrat, and they didn't like each other.
They did not.
They didn't like each other.
Fuentes and Kirk?
Yeah.
Okay.
Democrats are never going to bring this up because they want to court black voters, and Republicans don't want to be viewed as racist. So nobody brings up the fact that there is deep racial animosity in these cities where everybody's racially segregated. Nick Fuentes talks about it, and what happens? You're a young white guy who watches these gangbangers from somewhere like the LeClaire Courts or Cabrini Green. I know both of them are gone, and they don't get held accountable. You get these stories of this guy on the train. He gets arrested 14 times, and they keep releasing him.
Right.
You're a young man watching that, and then you hear about what happens to these young white guys getting Me Too'd or getting kicked out of universities. They can't get jobs, and Nick resonates very, very well. The problem is, when Nick was younger, he wasn't always this crazy anti-Israel, pro-Hitler kind of guy. He started getting censored and then just doubled, tripled down and went super heavy with it.
Right.
And those things are going to stay with him forever. However, in recent history, if you watch the interviews he's been doing, even, I can't remember who it was, I think it was like the New York Times wrote about him, he's trying to moderate.
Well, I know a lot of people who used to be dismissive of or hostile toward Nick Fuentes who recently have said, wow, he's really great. And so I think he's having a bit of a renaissance.
Because you take a look at what he's saying now. By all means, we can all rag on him for saying Team Hitler, and that was not even that long ago. That was like 7 months ago. I don't know. He's tweeting stupid things.
For shock value, too.
Exactly.
Nick is very entertaining. I think he's gotten really well with.
He is funny. He has a sarcastic wit. I'm not saying I agree with what he's saying, but in recent history,
he's nailing the Candace thing.
Exactly, and the Ian Carroll thing.
Yes, he is.
I think he's trying to come back from the brink. I think he realized that he was, again, intemperate in his youth and he should not have done those things.
Right.
And he's probably thinking, look, man, if he just remained chill and didn't go to the edge of insanity for whatever reason, either because he really believed it or because he thought it was shocking, he actually has the makings to be a very prominent personality. He is one, but he could be a lot bigger if he didn't say stupid shit.
Right.
That's exactly true.
So now he's getting profiled, he's getting these big interviews, he's doing more shows, and he's trying to be more reasonable in all of them. But, he's
vowing to do a whole expose on Candace. And I think it's going to be...
Nick's a young guy. I mean, I've seen
he's very
evolving.
young.
He's evolving. Yeah, I mean, he's like in his
and
27,
look at
25.
Robert Byrd. You know what I mean? Klansman endorses the Democrats and they embrace him. I see a potential reality where Nick recants or walks back all of the stupid Hitler stuff that he said, I mean, he did this. Did you see what he said? He's not a Holocaust denier.
Yeah, I did.
He literally came out and being like, "I hate being pegged to this. It's literally not a part of I don't care." He's trying to pull back.
He just
from
denies the official numbers. He says we've been lied to.
He's walking it all back. He's trying to
de-emphasizing it, at least. Yeah.
And so I wouldn't be surprised if in 4 years he's actually more of a mainstream guy. And when you go to him and say, "Remember all those things you said?" and he'll go, "I know it was wrong. I was young. I shouldn't have said those things." And then what do you have to say about that?
Right.
When he agrees with you,
right.
I think he's going to pull that, and I think he's going to make himself a millionaire.
He's already a millionaire.
Is he?
I don't know.
Oh yeah, he has a huge following.
Huge following doesn't mean he's making a lot of money.
Yeah, you don't make as much money as you think you would in this
So
game.
Nick, are you a millionaire?
He might be, but I don't. I think
Nick, come on the show. Ian Carroll.
He's coming on the show.
Oh, he is.
Yeah, that's what I can't stand. Like Ben Shapiro. I like Ben, okay, but he was like Tucker should not have platformed Fuentes, the virile anti-Semitic. blah, blah,
I think
blah.
that's ridiculous.
Nah.
Yeah, no.
Sorry, Ben. I disagree with you on that one. And
I'd love to see a
like
Ben
it.
and Nick debate.
It's never gonna happen.
That'd be very entertaining.
It's never gonna happen.
You know, I love entertainment.
That'd be great.
I love entertainment. I want to see that debate.
I mean, I think Ben would. So I'll phrase it like this. I think it wouldn't be as intense as people think right now with Nick trying. It feels like Nick is trying to come back from the brink, as I described it. He'd probably defer quite a bit to Ben and push back only in certain areas, and it would not be as contentious as one would think.
I can't wait to see it. I'll get my popcorn ready.
I can't wait to see him on here.
Yeah.
Nick,
We had him booked several times, and it's just, I don't blame people for having things come up, but we had him booked like a month ago, and then he had to postpone it. I think he's coming on next month.
Perfect.
We'll see.
Because he's been going on a lot of shows recently.
But we're not a debate show.
Yeah.
Timcast IRL, I should say. This is. But when he comes on Timcast IRL, it's literally going to be like, here's the news of the day. What do you think? I'm not going to sit there and be like, tell me about the Jews.
It will come up, though. I mean, stuff will come up.
It might if it. This is the thing. People, we've had, like, when we have Milo on, I'm not going to sit here and talk to Milo about, like, if we have Milo on the culture war, there'll be pushback, there will be debate. And that episode of IRL we did was kind of like a Friday degossing show. It was like, we're just like releasing things. And so it went there, and people got really mad about what he said.
Well, he said stuff about Benny Johnson.
I know.
George Santos.
And I talked with-
gosh.
and I talked
that was
with Benny,
George
too.
Santos on here too. That he was a good moderator.
It was good.
That was a really good episode.
It was
That was good.
It was supposed to be the gay conservative talking about the current state of things, and it went into the history of things.
Yes, it went.
So, again, like, I always tell people this. People, like, will say, oh, you should book this scientist who does this thing. And I'm like, we're a current events show. We're not going to sit here and have a 2-hour discussion on this specific issue. It might come up.
We should do a special debate show with you, Candace, Ian, Nick, Milo. That'd be really entertaining. I would.
You know what's interesting? I'll just be completely honest. I'm willing, in almost all circumstances, to sit down with people. There's a small handful of people I will not have. And Candace is on the borderline of me being totally just disinterested in doing anything with her. The reason why is she's going to then lie about everything, and there's nothing you can do about it.
Well, you can. That's why I said it in person. You can bring up anything.
She'll lie and claim that my brother pulled a gun.
Well, then you pull up the evidence right in front of her face.
Well, or what you can
She's
or
going
what
to
you
say,
do is
what evidence do I pull up of a thing? How do you prove a negative? That's the point.
Your brother comes in, he explains what happened.
Piers
And
Morgan
then she
was
goes,
very.
you're lying. You're lying right now. He just did it, and
Well,
we
then
can't do anything.
well, let's
the
watch that
point,
person.
it's
What
stupid
Piers Morgan-
WWE garbage.
What Piers Morgan did really well in his interview was he confronted her with what she had just said several minutes ago, and she couldn't deny it. I hate to do this, but we have a plane we have to catch
We gotta go.
immediately. So
Smash the like button,
Where
share
you
the
go-
show
where you
with
at?
everyone
You
you
guys
know.
going to Phoenix?
We gotta wrap it up because I got to bounce.
All right.
Smash the like button, subscribe, follow me next on Instagram at Timcast. The last show of the year, maybe the last show. No, it's not going to be the last show ever because we have plans already for January. The show will continue, but we have about 3 weeks to figure out how we move forward. And I think there's good news on the horizon. I'm really excited. Really excited. I've been talking with Graham, the guys at Rumble. But tonight is going to be epic, the last show of the year. So don't miss it. Timcast IRL. Follow me on X and Instagram at Timcast. Where can they find you guys?
House and Habit on Instagram and Substack.
I am Colonel Kurtz, and I'm Colonel Kurtz 99 on all platforms.
Yo, yo, yo! It's been a great show. The Robby Man on X. Much love.
All right, everybody. We're gonna get out of here. Thanks for hanging out. We'll see you all
Thank you for
tonight.
having us, Tim.
Thank you,
It's
Tim.
great.